A SportsCenter update on 1080 The Fan.
This update brought to you by Vulcan Design and Construction. Check out their award-winning outdoor living designs or schedule your free design consultation at vulcandc.com. First on The Fan, the Trailblazers announced they have agreed to a multi-year extension with general manager Joe Cronin, who was responsible for drafting Shaden Sharp, Scoot Henderson, and Donovan Clingan, and for acquiring Jeremy Grant, DeAndre Ayton, Tumani Kamara, and Denny Avdia. Three games remain in the Blazers season, now officially eliminated from the play-in race, but still technically a chance to catch the Spurs in the race down to the 8th worst record in the league. The Blazers are at the Jazz on Wednesday night. The final game of the college basketball season coming up this evening, Florida and Houston for all the marbles, 5:50 tip on CBS. The Gators looking for their third title while the Cougars seek their first. Florida are 1-point favorites. The Mariners host the Astros for a 3-game set starting this evening after getting swept in San Francisco over the weekend. Logan Gilbert on the bump for Seattle. Hayden Wesneski for Houston. It's a 6:40 first pitch on Root Sports. The Mariners are 3-7 on the season, last in the AL West. ESPN's Jeff Passan reporting the Blue Jays and first baseman Vlad Guerrero Jr. in agreement on a 14-year, $500 million extension. And what was a 3-1 series lead for the Winterhawks over the Cougars has turned into a Game 7. Puck drops tonight at 7 o'clock in Prince George. The winner moves on to likely face the Spokane Chiefs. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Russ from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work, insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
The Hot Corner, now in its new time. Tuesdays at 7 after Isaac and Sue on Portland's sports leader, 1080 The Fan. This is Danny and Dusty.
Meringatang is going to be a thing.
You're not coining anything new.
With Danny Meringue and Dusty, the Fan Man Hera.
I'll throw some monkey sounds in there and call it good.
The old Danny Meringue pie.
Danny and Dusty on the Odyssey app and 1080.
Yeah, this is going to be awesome.
The Fan.
Good afternoon! Hey, welcome in. A happy rainy Monday. Saturday was great. We had that going for us, which is nice.
I got a little sunburn on the old dome.
Say what?
Yeah, out at the kids' soccer game.
Did you win?
No.
Oh.
I mean, you
Started out great, 4-0 lead at halftime with my kid in the goal.
Oh.
And they lost 6-5.
Oh no.
She didn't play goal in the second half.
See? Yeah. It's the Rust magic. You know, just like on this radio program here, when Rust is in goal, nothing gets by you. Nothing gets by you.
Brick wall.
Same thing to go in old soccer there. Except for when it does get by you.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, sometimes it does, but nothing gets by you.
It's the off-speed stuff that just trickles in.
That's what I'm talking
paying attention? Nope.
Oh, man. Yeah. It was, you got a little sunburn. You got to make sure you protect that beautiful dome of yours.
Out there at the old Powerline Park.
Oh, you're right on Saturday?
Yeah.
We're right next to each other. We had
every game is at that park this season.
Oh.
Yeah.
I was right there. We had field day. Yeah, this was field day. You clean up the fields, right?
Yeah.
My back is busted.
Yeah.
My back is busted. But
Spinal.
that field is in perfect shape for an easy grounder to come and to get booted across the diamond.
There you
know
go.
what I'm saying? Like, it is in prime condition for some booted balls to be around.
Doctor said I need a backiotomy.
Yeah. I took that and I just rolled it in, you know. Sometimes you just get in that, you get in the groove. Like, I was like, all right, I just dug out about 9 months of overgrowth here on this infield.
Oh.
I'm feeling good, took it. Back to the home. We have a TV in the garage. As I think that you're doing your garage right if you have a TV in there,
100%.
right? It went from field day. I watched the Final Four while puttering around and cleaning out the garage. How do you get so much crap?
Oh.
Dude, it just is like, what is this?
Tried living in the same house for 22 and a half years.
Dude, like, you just walk around, you're like, what?
Yeah.
It accumulates.
Why do we have this? What is this doing here?
We can barely walk in our garage.
When was the last time this was used? So it was a lot of...
Yeah.
That is one of top 5 rewarding feelings. It sucks when you're doing it.
We don't have a garage. We just
Yeah.
have the carport, but we have when the house originally was a very tiny house, but they built this extension on the back of it where the laundry room and like another back door was added in, like just a whole extension. It's probably about the size of this. Yeah, about the size of this room. And that'll be
Great for the people on radio.
But yeah, you can understand it.
Yeah, it's like 8x10 jail cell.
Yeah.
As they say at least once daily on the Colin Cowherd show, apologies to our radio audience.
Yeah.
What the reason you know that it's an expansion is in the kitchen. There's a window into that room.
You know what? I am so glad to hear your home is just as weird as you are.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, we get a lot of windows into your kitchen. And sometimes you won't get out that kitchen.
Yeah, no. So it's we don't. Here's the other thing. We don't have a hood in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And so when I cook, the only window I can open is like one of those teeny tiny sliders.
Yeah.
Above the sink, because the window that would go outside goes into that room.
Oh.
Doesn't really do anything, and that's the laundry room.
Okay.
So the last thing I want to do is drive my wife crazy because what the problem is the smell when I cook.
Yeah.
Because it's peppers and onions and all kinds of spices, and there's no boiled chicken, and so she doesn't want the close. So it gets so ridiculous. She will go close the bedroom door when I cook.
Oh, all right. Hey.
She's like, I don't want the bedroom to smell like good, I guess.
Yeah. What's wrong with her?
I don't understand it. But yeah, so we don't have a garage, so instead our crap piles up in that room.
Oh, but that's better than a garage because the garage is just more out of sight, out of mind, and it's more space. Like, yeah. But so I like what you guys got going there.
But even then, like we have we've like dog crates.
Mm-hmm.
We bought them because when we first got the first dog.
Sure, dog crates, huh?
Yeah.
Wink, wink.
Wink, wink, nod, nod.
Uh-huh.
What's that swing over there?
Bring out the gimp.
Russ had to whisper that as if like. By the way, Russ' children are here today.
Yeah.
As if they're not right outside listening on the radio. Okay. Yeah. All right.
I'm sure I'll get that question later at home. Dad, what did that mean?
Mm-hmm.
Nope.
Time to turn on Pulp Fiction.
Oh God. Yeah, but the that's
Who's Zed? Zed's dead, baby.
Zed's dead, baby.
But the I walked by them the other day and I'm like,
no,
those haven't moved in 3 years.
No, get rid of them.
We need to get rid of this. Here's
rid of 'em.
what'll happen is like we'll go on a trip and the in-laws will take them like, hey, do you have a crate?
Yeah,
and I'll go.
But you know what? That's when you go. It was not used for 3 years. We had to get rid of it. Yeah, and that's the thing. As this text on the fan text line, the best way to get rid of crap, move. Once you start boxing things up, you very quickly reevaluate whether it's an item truly useful or not. Yes. I don't want to move ever again, though.
Yeah, no.
That's my thing. I'm done with this moving thing. I'm done with it. But a sunny day, it brings out a far more productive me, you know?
Yeah.
And so we have grass in the front, and so started patching the grass up there, you know, laid some seed. Now I am on bird duty. Those birds come in, they just try to eat your bird seed. So I got like a stack of rocks just wing their way off my lawn. And this is why the progressive commercials speak to me. I am at that point in my life where I am turning into my parents. It's terrifying, but I'm embracing it. I just need to be. It needs to turn off every now and then because I watched the entirety of the Final Four in my garage. It was great. It was great. I actually enjoyed it. Family didn't bother me.
Yeah.
They were just like, whatever. I'm out there puttering around, throwing stuff away that my kids inevitably will be like, where'd this go? And I'll be like, I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea where that went.
It's the garage gnomes.
Where do you guys stand on the outdoor TV?
I love it.
It's wonderful, right?
Yeah, we have
a place for it. Yeah.
We have an additional TV that in the summer months, like it's so easy. I've routed a cable up, then it drops out, so I just have a cable that I can plug in. So if we're out in the back, we can watch TV out there. We can hang out outside. A little outdoor TV is good. It's not a permanent one, though. It's an indoor TV I just bring out, and every night you just got to unhook, lug it back in, but it's okay. The permanent one is a game changer.
I'm doing the backyard this summer, and it's on the table.
It should be.
But I gotta push the wife for this because she says, well, the whole point of like being outside is to like, kind of just be outside. And I'm like, you know what I do for a living, right?
Yeah. No, what you do is you just do it and then ask for forgiveness later.
Because we're going to do one of those like nice gazebos, little concrete pad with a gazebo and a little station. And I'm thinking, do I spend the money on this?
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
The great news is she doesn't listen, so we can talk about this.
Yeah, no. The hard part with the gazebo, because I'm assuming standalone out there, where do you wiring then becomes a problem?
See, I've already got, because of the studio, that's the great thing about that. That was originally like a tool shed, but it was fully powered. So they ran power underground to the studio, and I've already run internet and everything else, and then we just put the mesh Wi-Fi in for the whole property.
Okay.
And so the TV can run off
Perfect.
the Wi-Fi.
Yeah, you're in. Yeah, this is where you just beg for forgiveness later.
That's kind of what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Especially if I put the full-on like built-in barbecue out there.
Yeah.
I think she's gonna go for it.
Well, those outdoor TVs, those are spendy too.
They are. That's the thing is like that's a line item that
you can.
I think I can hide it somehow.
I don't think you can.
I can because I control the finances now.
What you
she
need
does
to
not
do-
ever look at it.
Oh well, hid. Done. The crazy thing
Babe,
is,
look what I found at Goodwill.
you can get a TV and you just build a weatherproof box. Plexiglass that bad boy in there. You can do it.
Little DIY.
Yes.
There's probably a YouTube video out there.
There's several. I've already looked into this. Yeah, it can be done. It can be done. All right. And then there's this text. I've had an indoor TV in my outdoor patio area for the last 2 years. No issues. Yeah.
I mean, as long as the rain isn't blowing sideways.
Yeah. Dude, you just dude, figure this out. Yeah, you can do it. You
Okay.
can definitely do it. We have another one. Here's a great question. And this is, look, sometimes there's just man questions that need to be answered. Random question. I was inspired to bust out the pressure washer during our sunny day on Saturday, and I ended up washing way more than I'd initially planned on. My question, in the history of man, has any man ever set out to power wash and just stopped at his initial goal? It's like crack. Once I start, I just can't stop. No, you're right on that.
Oh, yeah, no, 100%.
Because, you're like, you know what I could do? I could do a little bit more. We got the front done. It is I'll watch videos of pressure washing.
There's a video
Actually
game
doing
of
it is
pressure
even
washing.
better.
You just sit there and it's like massaging your brain.
Yeah, you throw in, the headphones and you just go to work.
Throw a podcast on and
Yeah.
hell, I started listening to books on tape.
Yeah, look at you.
Yeah.
A learned man.
No, look at me.
Yeah.
Look at the big brain on Brad.
Electronic books. What are you listening to?
Wife and I are watching that show Wheel of Time,
Okay.
and so I'm listening to that book.
Oh, all right.
Apparently, there's a ton of them, so I was like, "All right, I'll get into it."
Yeah. All right. Wheel
cool.
of Time. You've told me about it.
It's a fun little show.
Never really got
No,
into it though.
not usually my bag, but
That's on what's that on?
Prime.
Prime.
Yeah.
Yeah, Prime Video. Yeah. I just
You don't find yourself on Prime.
I do.
Oh, do you?
Reacher.
Okay. Oh,
Reacher.
okay.
Yeah,
there you go.
Reacher.
Yeah, it's-
I do find myself on Prime. This is the hard part.
Hmm.
Channel surfing, way more difficult now.
Yeah, in and out of apps.
I don't like it.
Yeah, oh, that's the worst part of it.
I don't like
That's
it.
the one nice thing is the new TV that we got. You can seamlessly bounce to the apps. Like
See?
the apps are all on your remote,
Yeah,
and so it's very easy to get in and out.
you need it. You need it.
Quite nice.
Yeah. The hard part about pressure washing, though, and this is for the amateurs out there, you've got to adjust your pressure. You can never never come out of the gate too firm with the pressure because you can ruin everything.
Oh, you can take a whole layer. Like if you're doing on concrete, you can take the whole top layer, like the finished layer.
Yeah.
It will disappear.
And this is not an all gas, no brakes scenario.
No.
Yeah, no. Start
No.
further back, work your way in.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
start in and work your way back.
You got to work that nozzle, baby.
Yeah.
And you got to make sure that thing is not.
And avoid the tip.
Oh, man. It'll hurt you.
Mhm.
It'll hurt you. Yeah. All right. Well, we've covered a lot here.
Yep.
Now you have a ton of. Look at this. All you got to do is mention it. Your outdoor TV has been covered on the fan text line.
Yeah. No, it's
You've got
scary.
options. Yeah. You know exactly what you need now. This is why the fan text line is so great. And you know what? Maybe later we solve this problem for everybody else.
Yeah, there you go.
You know, we can just say, hey, outdoor TV, this is a act first, beg for forgiveness later. All right. Everybody will benefit from it.
Indeed.
Everybody will.
Nice little hangout spot in the summer.
Yeah.
Mojito.
Yeah. Sure.
I grow my own mint.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
All right. It's right there in your backyard.
It's literally right there.
All right.
Less
Perfect.
than a block away.
Okay.
Not even 2 blocks.
Not even 2. It's right there in the backyard. All right.
And my wife got a little hanging garden right next to the barbecue.
Hey, how about that? It's fun for the whole family.
Make my own mint jelly even.
Your palate.
This guy with his lamb and mojitos.
That's a good summer day, let me tell you.
Yeah.
Little lamb on the barbecue, little mojito.
It is.
I got no issue with the mojito. That's fine. But I just, I think I'll just take the 0, teacher.
You don't like lamb, huh?
Mm-mm.
Oh God, it's so good.
Mm-mm. Yeah. All right. Oh my goodness. Oh, P1 Shane chiming in. Used to pressure wash my driveway as a kid, and one time I had the bare feet out, accidentally clipped the top of my foot, took the skin right off.
Oh yeah, that's a degloving.
Wear shoes.
Yeah.
Wear shoes.
And don't wear the thin ones, man. Like that's boot time.
Yeah.
Don't wear like the Nike Prestos, like the mesh shoes or anything like that.
Yeah,
or
you got to get out there in your Red Wing boots.
Yeah, no, seriously.
That was good.
Yeah.
We got a new voice of Red Wing.
Well,
Wow.
throw on
Do
the
Danner now.
I would say throw on the Danners.
With the Danner boots.
Ooh.
Yeah. Get out there and maybe some Dickies.
Is that how you talk when you drive in your truck? Russ drives a massive truck, which is totally out of character for him. But you do.
Yeah.
Is that how you talk anytime you're like at a drive up? You're like, hey, have the McDouble.
You got to be careful when you make your trips to Idaho now. They outlawed truck nuts.
What?
Oh yeah, I almost used that for worst day on the web when you were out. They outlawed
I did
truck
see
nuts.
that. I did see that. There's gonna be a lot of angry people there.
Oh God, in Idaho,
Yeah.
the truck nut per capita has got to be sky high.
But sometimes government makes rules to save you from yourself.
Well, the Idahoans got to be jealous of us Oregonians too, because they can't have the Oregonian sticker in their back window.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Idaho hunting.
They're like, damn, it's wasted on the wrong state.
Huh?
That's pretty good.
I'd rather be hunting.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
I'd rather date outside the family.
Wow. Really? Just a stray. Just a stray for Idaho. As if we're some distinguished state over here.
I mean,
No.
I mean, when Boise is your super liberal metropolitan hub, or most liberal, but yeah, anywho.
All right.
The potato doesn't fall far from the tree. Guys, I know.
A lot of potato farmers very mad at you right now.
Oh, easy there, Wisconsin.
Yeah, very mad at you.
Very mad at you.
Oh, just going to squeeze right past you.
Let's get this show on the road, shall we? We've got a lot that we got to get to. It's National Championship Day.
It was
in college basketball.
Banger of a weekend.
It was. Gino Auriemma got another championship.
Yeah, did they give him 2 for that win?
He's well, they won by enough. He's worried about parity in women's college basketball now being ruined. That's an actual quote from him.
Unbelievable.
Gino, I don't want to ruin this for you, bud. You've won 12 titles since 2000.
Yeah, no, come on.
Hello, kettle. It's pot. You're black.
Yeah. But we have the men's title tonight, and then you've got a lot of NBA news and notes. Boy, I think the NBA does it right. They say no games tonight. We're going to let the stage be set for itself in college hoops.
Yeah.
That's a nice little tip of the cap. I think we have only 2 games tonight.
Yeah.
2.
So no good games tonight.
No. But what could happen between now and Wednesday?
Oh boy.
carnage, especially in the Western Conference side of the standings. We got that. But where we got to start this bad boy off, the hometown team, the Portland Trailblazers, they had a split over the weekend. That gets pushed to the back burner because general manager Joe Cronin has re-upped with a multi-year extension from the team. What does this mean for the Portland Trailblazers moving forward? Danny and Dusty on the Fan.
Check
The Portland Trailblazers have reached an agreement with general manager Joe Cronin on a multi-year contract extension to keep Cronin in control of the Portland Trailblazers organization. Now, we don't have details on how long this extension is for. All we got was a multi-year contract extension for Joe Cronin. Do you have how many years it is?
Yeah, but...
Yes and no?
Yes and no.
All right.
I do, but...
All right. All right.
It gives the organization stability.
It does moving forward, and there's a lot of moving parts here. And there's a lot of people that aren't happy with Joe Cronin being retained as the general manager.
Kind of crazy, I think.
I have been very critical of some of the moves that the organization has made. I've been critical of some of the things that Joe Cronin has said, including we are going to go after it post All-Star break and go after the play-in. But with that said, it's pretty ridiculous to say that what Joe Cronin has done has been a letdown as general manager, because I feel like everybody needs to take a step back when you have those feelings and remember what he took over. And what he took over was a team that contractually was an absolute disaster.
There was no cap space. There was no...
Draft assets were all tied up, and he's had to untangle that as well as he can. Okay. And he was in the middle of, right when he takes a job over and starts this transition, unloads guys like CJ McCollum, Cove, and as he's moving things along and moving things forward, oh, by the way, the tentpole of the organization, Damian Lillard, requests a trade. I don't think that move, and you know this to be a fact, that move was not tied to Joe Cronin personally or what he was doing as general manager.
No.
That wholly had to do with Damian Lillard at the point in his career, seeing the writing on the wall and going, if I want to get a title, I've got to do it somewhere else. You have also said that there may be some remorse in that from Damian Lillard and some regret on moving out of Portland.
Yeah, I mean, the Dame publicly and privately has said, the grass isn't always greener. When he was here, when he would be asked about, this star is asked out, he was like, I remember the line that he had was that.
Yeah.
Look, man, the grass isn't always greener. I mean, he went from the face of this city and of the franchise and everything else to Milwaukee, where he's not.
No.
Life is different when you're in the number 2. And Dame is one of the best to ever do it. Giannis might go down as a top 20 player of all time. Like, that's the nature of that beast. And he knew what that was, but... And
there's a difference between top 20 and top 75.
Yeah, there is.
You know what I mean?
Look, Dame will flat out tell you, like, Giannis is that guy. He's wanted to play with him for years. And he knew that, but you don't know what it is to not be the franchise guy until you're not anymore. And so that part of it, I think he's like, oh yeah, life is a little bit different when everything isn't built around you, catered to you. And it's not, I'm not like about the ego stuff. It's just different, right? Yeah. And look, I agree with you wholeheartedly on the, like, what they chose to do after the All-Star break. I mean, I was the one that asked Joe about, what are you going to do? And that's when he said, I'm not going to take the play-in off the table for these guys. And I was like, all right, not the way I'd go, but all right.
Micro and macro. The micro, there's always decisions that are made where you go, oof. The macro is, from a financial standpoint, this team is in a far better position than it was before. From a draft capital standpoint, it obviously is. And when you trade your franchise player, obviously that will help. And it's undeniable what they have done through the draft is exponentially better than when Neil O'Shea was in charge of the draft.
Look, I get the you carry the water for the Blazers, blah, 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 blah. And it's not that. It's that Joe Cronin and his staff have done what I wanted them to do with Dame. They went from the least athletic, least explosive team in the NBA. This is not hyperbole. A lineup of Damian Lillard, C.J. McCollum, Mo Harkless, Al-Farouq Aminu, Yusuf Nurkic. Who's the big athlete in that? Mo? Yeah. Mo is the best athlete in that lineup. And don't get me wrong, Mo's a good athlete, but he's a guy that, I hate saying this, but he didn't love basketball. He He liked the idea of being an NBA player. That's what it was. Like, was he fine as a replacement level guy? Yeah, sure. I got no problem with Mo in that regard, but he was never like the guy.
Well, when you would get an engaged Mo Harkless, it was a different player.
But that was so few and far between.
Sure.
And that was the issue with it.
That was a big issue.
Now they have quite literally the biggest team in the league. They're incredibly athletic. Shaedon Sharpe is probably one of the 5 best vertical athletes in the NBA in the last 20 years. Denny Avdia is a 6'9", 245-pound wrecking ball. Scoot Henderson is a tailback. Donovan Clingan is 7'3". Tumani Kamara is a 6'8", incredibly good wing. Chris Murray, another like multi-dimensional 6'8" wing. Roops is another guy that you're looking at like, hey, he maybe could be a guy. He's also 6'8". Their team is huge. This is what I have wanted for years. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work, and I'll eat crow. But the reason that I sing Joe's praises is because he's doing the things selfishly that I wanted them to do. And the second they deviate from that, then I'll beat him over the head for it. But what they've done, what transaction that he has been a part of, do you disagree with? The one that I get immediately is, well, they got rid of Norm and Cub for nothing. That was purposeful.
Yeah, but that was also tied into the financial mess that the organization was in untangling the S-web, as I've called it for years, that was created by the previous regime. Okay, you were going to take some losses in transactions, because it was so bad.
Because the goal was to clean the books.
Now, there is some validity to you could have gotten more from Damian Lillard in that trade. That is true, but you did right by the star, and you have continually tried to roll those moves over into moves that make sense and creating more assets for you.
The move that they didn't make is probably the one that's like most frustrating, and that's not moving Rob. And I get it. After being around Rob, I get it. But now you're seeing the injuries are going to probably preclude him from being a tangible asset that when you made the transaction originally, if you had flipped him immediately, what that would have done for you.
Would have helped tremendously.
Because multiple teams would have been interested in Rob.
Okay. Now you move into, all right, what does this look like moving forward? Because although I can disagree with some of the moves that Joe Cronin has done on a smaller scale, the large scale, I think he has done a really good job of putting pieces into place that can be competitive. But this is where the next step, it's got to change and it's got to be much better. We'll talk about that after Rust with SportsCenter.
Now, from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk, a SportsCenter update on 1080 The Fan.
This update brought to you by Vulcan Design and Construction. Check out their award-winning outdoor living designs or schedule your free design consultation at vulcandc.com. First on The Fan, the Trailblazers announced they have agreed to a multi-year extension with general manager Joe Cronin. He's responsible for drafting Shaedon Sharpe, Scoot Henderson, and Donovan Clingan, and also for acquiring Jeremy Grant, DeAndre Ayton, Tumani Kamara, and Denny Avdia. 3 games remain in the Blazers season. They're now officially eliminated from the play-in race, but still technically a chance to catch the Spurs in the race down to the 8th worst record in the league. The Blazers are off until Wednesday night when they are at the Jazz. Final game of the college basketball season coming up this evening. Florida and Houston in the national championship game. 5:50 tip on CBS. The Gators looking for their 3rd title all time, while the Cougars seeking their 1st. Florida are 1-point favorites. Over in baseball, ESPN's Jeff Passan reporting the Blue Jays and first baseman Vlad Guerrero Jr. in agreement on a 14-year, $500 million extension. And on the ice, what was a 3-1 series lead for the Winterhawks over the Cougars has turned into a Game 7. Puck drops tonight at 7 o'clock in Prince George. The winner moves on to likely face the Spokane Chiefs. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rust from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work, insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
The Fan Merch Locker has a new black 1080 The Fan hoodie, as well as classic long and short sleeve tees. Get yours now at 1080thefan.com.
It's springtime, the best time to get to those home projects you put on the back burner. Are your old windows costing you money on your energy bills? Spring forward with a serious upgrade. Get it done with YHIC, your home improvement company, with their biggest sale of the year, and it's a once
Joe Cronin is re-signed with the Blazers, agreeing to a multi-year extension as the GM moving forward. You can love it or hate it. In the big picture, he has untangled a lot. He has drafted well, developed well. Now, the big move is what is going to be next.
Yep.
And that, I think, is where a lot of the questions come with this organization. And if he's the guy that can pull that big move off.
Mm-hmm.
Reality is, May 12th, that's going to be a big day.
Yeah.
For the Portland Trailblazers. Because if they don't jump into the top 4, how do you make that big move moving forward?
And that's what's, even more interesting is May 12th has these massive, for those who are wondering, it's a draft lottery, May 12th. So we're, a month and 5 days away. So basically 5 weeks from the NBA draft lottery. The Blazers are going to have to make a decision here. And so let's look at the timeline, right? I found it interesting that Joe Cronin was extended before the end of the season. As it stands right now, the last game of the season on Sunday, the plan is to have exit interviews following the game. So if you're wondering what when, how that's going to look, that's at least the plan right now. That's subject to change. But the main actors, the main players will go up there. I probably won't hear from the two-way guys and maybe a couple of the other young guys, but other than that, and then Joe Cronin and Chauncey Billups will do exit interviews. I find that a little surprising because I thought maybe they'd hold Joe out in case that they do the Chauncey Billups and the Portland Trailblazers have agreed to mutually part ways kind of a deal. And then Joe would be able to address that a couple days later. They do the extension, all those kind of things. But with this being done ahead of time, I don't think it means that Chauncey is coming back. And through discussions with the people around the team, the door is at least open. They'll talk, which if you had asked me in December if that was a possibility, I would have said, hell no. It's on the table. But got to remember, Neil Olshey hired Chauncey Billups, not Joe. Neil was fired 2 months after he hired Chauncey Billups, and Joe took over as the interim GM. This is going to be Joe Cronin's first coach hire. Does he go with who he knows and who has been, I think, worthy of an extension? I look, you may disagree with me on this, but around the NBA, everybody is like, no, Chauncey's going to get another job. And if it's not here, I could very easily see him being the replacement in Phoenix for Budenholzer.
Yep.
Very easily.
Well, there's that rumor last year.
Yeah. So that would not surprise me in the least bit. But do you wait to hire your coach until you know kind of what ammo you have? So could there be this month period where, sure, they do a sit down with Chauncey, but does Chauncey want to wait around? And do other coaches want to wait around? Because the implications of May 12th are so large. Mm-hmm. Not just if they win the lottery and get Cooper Flagg, but if they go top 4 or if they stay where they are or fall back a spot or two.
If they jump into the lottery, the job gets exponentially more attractive.
It's another asset, even if they don't draft. Even if they opt to trade that, like they package that up with one of their young guys and one of their veteran contracts. I think there's a lot of different paths. The decision tree that comes out of May 12th has huge implications, not just for the roster, but also for the coaching staff. Like if you let's say pie in the sky, you get Cooper Flagg. Who doesn't want to take that job?
Boy, I don't know. I mean, it is a very attractive job. If you get number 1 overall, you are tied to him. You are his first coach. That's attractive to a lot of guys. When you look at the young core of players that the Blazers currently have,
all of a sudden you see that trajectory going
it goes up
a lot
exponentially in that.
And that opens the door. Like, look, there's only 30 of these jobs in the league. But as we've seen across sports, coaches are getting more and more particular about what jobs they take, particularly in the NBA. And I'm not saying the Blazers are going down this path. Nobody wants to be Brett Brown anymore. Nobody wants to come in for the process and be the guy that takes 300 losses.
And that's where May 12th means so much.
And again, I think that the Blazers are heading in the right direction. But the difference between a truly ascending team and a team building towards something is different. Not only that, whatever coach does come in, let's say they move into the top 4, or they just stay where they are in the lottery. They just finished 9th, okay? The questions you are going to have as a coach, and this is for Chauncey Billups too, because he knows these guys. And if you don't think these coaches are like that talk, you're out of your mind. So Chauncey will whoever interviews for that job will probably call Chauncey and go, give me the real. There's what the front office is telling me. Tell me what the guys are telling you. Okay. And they're going to want to know, okay, what's the plan for the veterans? What's the plan? Like, what trade do you have in place to make a move to keep us going? Those are the questions they're going to ask. It's not just the front office interviewing the coach and going, what scheme, what style, what are the things you're going to install? It's the coach is interviewing the front office and going, okay, what is your plan for the next 18 months?
As it stands, the Blazers need to woo a coach, not the other way around. Not the coach sitting there and saying, hey, I want this job. This is a great job, blah, blah. No, the Blazers are in a situation where they need to prove why it is a good job.
If you want the coach that you want. And that's the thing is like, I think both front offices and coaches are both getting smarter about, don't get me wrong, there's still coaches out there that are like, I'll take any job. Like, yeah. I'll take that bench job. But like, is that the guy that you want?
No, it isn't. And this is also a layer to bringing back Joe Cronin is that both the GM and the head coach were up.
Yes.
And you were going to be in a position where a lot of the organizations that are still playing and effective at a really high level, they're not going to have guys jumping ship midstream and saying, I'm going to bolt prior to the draft lottery and the draft process because their teams are still playing, right?
Especially if your general manager is on a lame duck contract.
And this is where you go, I understand why the Blazers made this announcement now, why they are sticking with Joe Cronin moving forward, because they are still in the process of a rebuild. Yep. And they're not going to jump horse midstream. They're going to stay on the horse, get to the other side, and then that conversation can be had.
The macro results, the ownership is happy with. And I'm talking about the roster building stuff, the accumulation of assets, the way they push things forward, the way the books look, all the whole holistic macro of it. Can you disagree with the micro stuff? Yeah, absolutely.
This is where Joe Cronin really needs to start making his hay here and pulling the weight. Is there needs to be a big move this offseason.
Yeah. The clock isn't ticking, but you're winding the watch, as it were.
That damn clock is about to expire in my mind and a lot of fans' minds because they need to make a move. You can't just sit here and tell us about the veteran contracts and team-friendly deals. It needs to happen this offseason. It has
to make a move. I don't think you have to make the move right now.
And you and I will disagree on that because I think they need to make a big landscape-changing move this offseason. And look, because how many more years of this? Are we just going to kick the can down the road and say, well, the time isn't now, or we couldn't find a partner to make a deal with? No, you have to find that partner, and you need to make that deal. And that is what the role of the front office is to do.
I just don't think that in year 3 of a rebuilding process, when almost all of your roster is under 25, is when you have to make that move. That move comes when the guys are 25.
But Jeremy Grant, DeAndre Ayton, Matisse Thybulle, like these guys that have all been movable part. You could throw Robert Williams in there as well. These movable part, Anthony Simons, and albeit he is young still.
Yeah, but
what are you going to hold on to him until?
No.
That's all of a sudden.
That's where we agree.
This is where you have to make a move proactively.
Yeah, 100% agree.
Before the value gets depressed, just like it's Robert Williams.
It's a move, not the move.
And boy.
It does. Look, I do agree. It needs to be a move of consequence. That I agree with. But it's not like you have to go get Devin Booker. Like that's not. They aren't there yet.
This franchise has got to start showing that with everything we've seen this year, they have developed their young players. They have drafted well. Now it's time that you start saying, all right, winning is going to be a priority for us.
And again, going into next year, I think the goal should be the play-in.
Yeah.
That's the natural progression of this.
I am to the point where we went through the untangling of the contracts. We went through a hard reset. You've drafted, and if you're going to sit there and say that, well, that player wasn't available, that player could have been wholly more attainable had they not gone for it after the All-Star break.
Yeah, no, again, on the micro stuff, yeah, no, we 100% agree.
But that leads to, if you can't pull off a big move that changes the outlook in the landscape of your franchise this offseason, then what are we doing here? I mean, we're just spinning our tires in mud.
I 100% agree.
Well, Joe Cronin's going to be the guy who's going to be in charge. Some of your feedback on the Fan text line, we will get that coming up next. Danny and Dusty on the Fan. 503-864-6326. That is the fan text line. You can be a part of the show. Joe Cronin is going to be the GM here in Portland for the next at least handful of years, agreeing to a multi-year extension with the organization earlier today. And look, it's a polarizing topic because this is a franchise in the middle of a rebuild. And anytime you go through that, there's fans that aren't about that life and don't want to be about it. This is year 3 of a rebuild for the Blazers. Mm-hmm. And you are starting to see a lot of the rewards being reaped from the ancillary pieces, and we've talked about this at length. The Blazers have a bunch of role players that will be really good on a good team. Mm-hmm. They don't have that dude yet, though.
No.
And they need to get that guy. Some of the feedback that we're getting at 503-864-6326. This organization and their process when it comes to hiring and extending makes little to no sense. No real coaching search, no GM search, only as foolish as the wins this season.
I'll tell you right now, the air quotes coaching searches that happen in the NBA, they're not searches.
Yeah, they're already predetermined.
They're done.
Yeah.
They're like the reason you heard Chauncey's name come up in Phoenix was because the players found out that it was going to be Budenholzer and they wanted a more player-friendly coach. Mm-hmm. It was done. And it was the same process with Monty Williams in Detroit. Ownership wanted Monty Williams, and even though they did a search, Monty told them no 3 different times, and the money just got so obscene. Was it $15 million a year? That he was like, screw it, I have to.
If you have a true coaching search happen in the NBA especially, mm-hmm. it is because you're getting turned down.
Yeah.
I look at Jordi Fernandez in Brooklyn. Right? And even that was one where they had an idea.
Yeah.
He wasn't their number 1, but he was on their very short mm-hmm. list, and then they got told no, and then we're like, all right, Fernandez is our guy.
And Jordy's a hell of a coach.
He is.
Mark Dagnall, the coach of the Thunder, he was their G League coach.
Yep.
That glorious organization that everybody's like, oh my God, it wasn't a coaching search.
Yeah.
The coaching searches they happen,
yeah,
but they have a short list.
And when Joe Cronin was elevated from interim to the actual job, mm-hmm. it was not an appealing job league-wide. So he did a good job of untangling contractually the mess, and they trusted him with the rebuild. And look, again, we'll talk about this. You can argue the micro, the macro. He has done a good job holistically of getting this organization to a point where they should be able to make moves. They've drafted really damn mm-hmm. well. They've gone out in the trade for Yusuf Nurkic and getting DeAndre Ayton to Portland. They got Toumani Camara, too, and made him a part of that deal. Those are good moves. Denny Avdia trade. I hope everybody is now saying, yep, that actually makes sense. They gave up some, but they got a young player in return that's pretty damn good.
I went back on Friday because I'm doing my kind of season-long write-up on Denny, and I was looking at the tweets from that day. And boy, were there some bangers of some folks calling it the worst deal they'd ever seen, massive overpay, just horrendous stuff. And I'm just sitting there going, boy, a lot of you missed this one by a lot.
He is not a star, but they didn't give up star freight to get him in return.
No, they got a really good player for a good cost.
Yeah. All right. Rust, are you ready? Are you ready over there? Because we have a text. Can we get Rust's take in here, please? Start yelling for the rest of us who think this organization is a disaster. I love that if they get flag, we can continue to live in a fantasy land. How do you feel about this, Jeff?
Well, look, things have not gone the way this season that we would have liked, and I feel like some of the decision making in terms, especially late towards the end of the season, where the decisions that kind of kept us in purgatory here. Now, granted, he has made some good moves. You had Donovan Clingan get drafted, and he drafted Scoot and Shea, and at the time, the Scoot was the guy. He was the last of the top 3 that fell to you, so that was, the right call there. And he's made some good moves, like you said, to get Denny Avdia. That one looks fantastic now, and I'm bringing in Toumani Camara. I think he's earned it a couple more years. Now, if this parlays into another position, I'm not sure that I have quite the same sentiment in terms of having. I still don't think that Chauncey Billups is the right guy.
Oh, Okay. All right. That was far less yelling than he asked for. All right.
Look, the whole like pitching your organization on 14%. It sounds great from the outside. There's a reason why teams don't want to do it. It's freaking miserable. And the likelihood is you were the Detroit Pistons. Yeah, they got lucky they got Cade. But they had 4 years of falling out of the top 4.
Yeah. We've had this conversation, though, when you are in the position that the Blazers are in, though, the difference between 9, 10, and 6 and 7, it's not being the dregs of the NBA because the reality is, and you've said this all the time, there's no way that this organization would be able to out-tank.
Not what those teams did this
Utah,
year. Washington.
New Orleans, Washington.
They weren't. They weren't a 15-win team, man. Like
they were
even
not.
if you shut the. Let's just say that you started the season, you took JGDA and said, "You guys aren't playing this year. Collect your checks, be happy."
Yeah.
Even if you just did that, just to start the year, and you're like, "We're going to let Donovan Clingan struggle, and Denny's going to play 35 a night," you would have ended with like 28 wins, which is still. I mean, it would put you maybe in the 6-7 range, which again is a tangible lift.
Yeah.
But when you're taking a look at everything, and look, I thought they'd be in the fifth. That's where I thought they would be.
Yeah.
They were just better, just flat out better.
Yeah. But there was an opportunity to shut the valve off to give yourself a chance to jump up.
No, and we agree there.
Yeah.
At the trade deadline. That's the reason I asked the question.
I like Cronin. Been rooting for him since he got the job. I think the big question I have this year, not continuing the tank in a year where you have a generational talent, was that him blinking or ownership saying, no, we are done? If he blinked, I don't feel good about the extension. Got to stay the course. Tired of a mediocre team. Been following him since 90. Want a shot at a chip. I agree. I think a lot of people agree with that.
I don't think he blinked.
No. The big move's got to be done, though, and he's in control now. He's got to make sure that he's the one that can pull that thing off.
Yeah, it's, again, May 12th, and we'll probably do some show somewhere. It sucks, but that it's such a massive decider for which path they end up going down.
National championship in college hoops is tonight. We got Houston, Florida. That's because the Duke Blue Devils blew a 14-point lead. Let's recap the Final Four action and give you a look at what's up ahead tonight down in San Antonio. A hell of a weekend of basketball in San Antonio. Danny and Dusty on the Fan.
From the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
This update brought to you by Crunch Fitness. Memberships as low as $9.99 per month. Find your Crunch time in Portland, Vancouver, and online at crunch.com. First on The Fan, the Trailblazers announced they have agreed to a multi-year extension with general manager Joe Cronin. He's responsible for drafting Shaden Sharp, Scoot Henderson, and Donovan Clingan. Also for acquiring Jeremy Grant, DeAndre Ayton, Tumani Kamara, and Denny Avdia. 3 games remain in the Trailblazers season. They're now officially eliminated from the play-in race, but still technically a chance to catch the Spurs in the race down to the 8th worst record in the league. Final game of the college basketball season coming up this evening. Florida and Houston in the national championship game. 5:50 tip on CBS. The Gators looking for their 3rd title while the Cougars seek their 1st. The Gators are 1-point favorites. The Mariners hosting the Astros for a 3-game set starting this evening after getting swept in San Francisco over the weekend. Logan Gilbert on the bump for Seattle. Hayden Wesneski for Houston. 6:40 first pitch on Root Sports. The Mariners are 3-7 on the season. That is last in the AL West. And what was a 3-1 series lead for the Winterhawks over the Cougars has turned into a Game 7. Puck drops tonight, 7 o'clock in Prince George. Winner moves on to likely face the Spokane Chiefs. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rust from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work, insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
Live, local, and free. No subscription required. Portland's sports leader is 1080 The Fan. This is Danny and Dusty.
It's not your problem, Doc. You don't have to mix up in this.
That is a hell of a thing for you to say to me.
With Danny Meringue and Dusty, the Fan Man Hera.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, skin it. Skin that smoke wagon and see what happens.
Danny and Dusty on the Odyssey app and 1080
I'm your Huckleberry.
The Fan.
Hour number 2, Danny and Dusty with you on this Monday afternoon. We got the national championship in men's basketball tonight, 5:50 tip. It'll be the Houston Cougars taking on the Gators of Florida.
I had it half right. I had Florida Duke, and boy, did it look like Duke was going to take care of things. And yikes, dog.
Well, you have 2 teams that are going to be in it tonight that they kind of play by the same mantra, but in 2 wildly different ways.
Yes.
We are going to grind you to a pulp and then see if you have anything left at the end. And that's the way that Florida did not just win in the Final Four. It's how they've won all season long. We see them just boat race teams in the second half of games. And
quite the second half for Florida.
The definition of grind you up, spit you out, and see what you're made of is this Houston Cougars team.
Yeah, I mean...
Where you want to start? You want to start with Final Four, Florida-Auburn, or Houston?
Let's go Florida-Auburn first.
All right, Florida-Auburn.
Let's go as it happened. And the way Auburn came out in that game, I went, oh crap.
Oh, you mean Janai Broom making plays on both ends of the floor early?
I mean...
Looking like that dude that looked 100%?
The first possession, like the basketball in me just tingled all over.
And then he was running his mouth coming down the other end like, I'm going to be here all night.
They posted him up at 20 feet, and he walked Alex Condon under the rim, shimmy post fade, and I went, oh, we got real hoops here. Straight post up, walk down to start the game, because that play's scripted. That play's 100% scripted. It is, Janai Broom, we ride and die with you. We are going to give you the ball. Go give him that work. Go straight. And Condon's a big kid. He's NBA prospect. And Broom made him look silly.
And the shot wore off. And he looked hurt in the second half.
Yep. And it was apparent that he was the whole like, oh, he'll be close to 100%. He wasn't. And that's
whatever they gave him though before the game.
Woo, it worked because he started out, baby.
It looked like he was going to be a problem
everywhere to start that game.
And he was a problem. But this is what Florida does. They will rope-a-dope you. They'll take their lumps early, and then they go for the knockout blow in the second half. And Walter Clayton is a bad man, going for 34 in that game. The first player since Larry Bird in 1979 to score 30 or more points in an Elite Eight and Final Four game. He took over that ball game in the second half, and it's just control. It's control.
Is like, if you look on Auburn's side of this, their point guards, Todd Pettiford and Miles Kelly, shot 4 of 16 in the game. That's where the game was lost for them. Their guard play just did not look, they lean on Janai Broom, and Chad Baker-Mazara was you got good Chad Baker-Mazara. And that was the thing we talked about on Friday. It was he closed the show, was that dude is a wild card. He is either out to sea or very good. 18 points, 4 steals, 2 assists, a block, just kind of everywhere. He's a very good glue guy who's got some offensive juice when he's cooking.
Yep.
But their guards didn't show up, and then so this weekend, it was Sunday, I was talking to some scouts about Walter Clayton Jr. and where he may or may not go in the draft. And there were some guys who are like, I can see him being a second-round guy. There were some guys like, the way he plays, I'm not just talking about the last 2 games. There's some Jalen Brunson to him. There's some like just real hooper stuff to him.
I laughed out loud when I heard Jay Williams on Get Up this morning. Did you hear what Jay Williams said? He's a mix of Steph Curry and Dame.
Okay, chill.
I audibly laughed out loud. I was like, what? But
I do believe there is some there's just
bucket getter, shooter, big moment guy.
You just know when a dude's got you can.
Brunson is a lot better, but he can shoot better than Jalen Brunson did in college.
But
I get that.
But
I like that more.
It's a feel, IQ, execution, trust. He's a 4-year guy. And that does play into it. But also sometimes those 4-year guys, Tamani Kamara, you just have the goods.
Yeah.
You can take part of it is you can take all the projection off guys and go, what can this guy do right now? And you salivate, and again, Cooper Flag's a different level, but you see the projection of what Cooper Flag can be, and it's all NBA, 100%. A guy like Walter Clayton, you go, you're not as sexy because you are kind of what you are. Yeah, you'll develop a little bit more, but it's kind of on the margins. But what if what you are right now is just a really good basketball player? What if you're a good shooter? You've got a good handle. You've got good feel. You have all of these things, and you go, 2-3 years down the road, how does this guy a 2nd-round pick? It's how the hell did everybody miss this? And it's the things he was good at in college, he's good at in the league. Yeah. But that's what he has been for Florida all season. And he's putting his foot on the gas in the Elite 8 and the Final 4.
Yeah, he was special. And then Elijah Martin, soul snatching.
Yes.
That dude, that guy, that dunk in traffic, he got some bunnies on him. When those kind of plays happen, those are backbreakers. Auburn fought to the end. I think what you can say with both of these games, free throws in controlling the boards at the end of game, total difference for both of the Final 4 games. And
you're talking about lack of rebounding for one team.
Mm-hmm. It was apparent. Florida earned that win. It played right into their style and exactly how they've kind of grinded out wins all season long. That was a hell of a basketball game. It came down to the final minute. And when that game was wrapping up, I was like, no matter what happens in Duke Houston, this Final 4 is already a good one.
And then you had maybe the best comeback in NCAA basketball history.
And both things can be true. Duke blew that game, and Houston played the game they've played all season long and won. Danny and Dusty on the Fan.
Goodbye.
The back half of the Final Four on Saturday saw the Duke Blue Devils blow a 14-point lead and fall to the Houston Cougars 70-67. Biggest blown lead in John Shire's young coaching career.
Boy, I don't even know where to start in this game just because it's such an unreal comeback for Houston. But what a monumental meltdown for Duke. A team that has been so good and so rock solid and never bothered by stuff. Their one bugaboo this year, games within 5 points. But the issue is it wasn't within 5 with a minute to go.
No,
56 seconds.
There was a meltdown of epic proportions. When you look at the three things that Houston has done well all season long: create turnovers, rebound the ball, make shots at the end. There's like clutch shot making. That's what they have been really damn good at this year. 5 of Duke's 7 turnovers came in the final 10 minutes of the game. So like you were to say final quarter of the game, right? 5 of their 7 turnovers. They made 1 field goal in the final 10 minutes and 30 seconds of the game. Okay? They had 0 defensive rebounds in the final 3 minutes of the game. And that's with Kaman Malach, who played 21 minutes at 7 foot 2 inches, did not record a single rebound in the entire game.
Cooper Flagg had 19 of their 33 second half points, and yet did not see the ball for 4 of their final 5 possessions.
That was Proctor kind of taking over, playing hero ball at the end. And this was a team that we'd talked about this. You had 3 freshmen who had come in and they'd been poised. They didn't flinch. They didn't blink. And I think when you look at it,
2 of them showed up.
2 of them showed up and showed out, man.
Cooper Flagg and Concanipple were dudes in this game.
They were. It was everybody else. Everybody else. Cooper scored 27. Concanipple scores 16. They only scored 67 points in the entire game. Right? That's where it came down to. It came down to everybody else, and that's what Houston did. So you can look at it in, was it a meltdown of epic proportions? Absolutely.
Yes.
Did the referees call what I believed was an egregious over the back on Cooper Flagg? Yes. But at the same time, there's an angle, somebody who's shooting from like on the baseline of the elevator or on the sideline of the elevated floor. And you can see all of the markers of what an over the back should be in that situation. Cooper Flagg left his feet. He leaned over. He reached over the back of the defender. But it didn't fit the flow of the game.
No, the way that game was called, the way that game was being played, the physicality, these are 2 of the most physical teams in the country.
Mm-hmm.
And for that call to be made then, look, if you want to go by the book, and even by the book, it's iffy.
Yeah.
It's iffy. But man, that's just one of the issues.
You can
over the back, the inbounds.
There it is.
The inbounds. What are you doing? What are you doing?
Well, the guy inbounding may have been concussed because he bounced his dome off the floor.
Good God, man.
That was crazy.
How was there not a foul called on that chase down?
Yeah, I don't know.
He got wiped out.
He did. Like, it was body. He got hit on the arm, too.
Yeah,
it was like,
everything. All of that happened before the block.
Yeah. Back to the Cooper Flagg over the back thing, though. Make your free throws. Dude, free throws. Bill Schonely, may he rest in peace. You've got to make your free throws. They went 18 of 23 from the line, which is really damn good by any measure. When it mattered the most, though, that's where Duke puckered, right?
11 of 11 between Knipple and Flagg.
Yeah. And even Common.
4 or 5.
4 or 5. I mean, they shot really well from the free, but it was when it mattered, you didn't have the ball in those guys' hands.
That's the thing that blew my mind. I get the whole, like, in the middle of the season, you don't run the Cooper Save Us offense.
Yeah.
in the Final freaking Four when he's playing that good? Cooper, please save us. Get him the bleeping ball.
But I will go to this too. As Duke was gacking that game away, Houston played how they've played all season long. There's a reason why Houston is where they are.
Yep.
And that right there, that game encompasses it, where they will just beat you to hell. Mm-hmm. And they'll say, how much you got left?
And they tried to implode. Tugler picks up the technical foul, reaching on inbounds and knocks the ball out of bounds. Which also, did you catch the ref on that? That's a Class B technical. Like reading it off like it was a misdemeanor. I was like, I've never once heard it called that.
Never heard that, no. I think that both of the things can be true. Duke blew it. Houston stuck to their identity because Kelvin Sampson had an all-time quote after the game. Mm-hmm. He said, if you have culture, quitting isn't part of the deal. We're just going to play better. And Houston did late in that game.
What was it 36 seconds to go? Duke finally does get an inbound that doesn't backfire. And they get into their offense. And I'm like, are they going to foul here? Sampson puts his hands down. Motions, both hands down. Settle in, boys.
Yep.
I trust you. That's a ballsy call.
Yeah.
That is a ballsy call for in the first half, they weren't doing a great job of slowing down Duke. And so to stand on business there was huge. And they get the stop. Because if you put them at the line there with maybe a little bit less pressure, with the score a little bit further out, maybe they hit them. Maybe they hit those free throws, and then you don't have the chance. They get the stop, they go down, and they score.
That, to me, this is what college basketball fans have been waiting for years, is that's the difference between having a one-and-done heavy team and having a bunch of dudes who have fought, scratched, and clawed their way through college basketball. Mm-hmm. Kelvin Sampson trusted them, and he trusted L.J. Cryer. Dude. He has got ice water running through his veins.
Huevos grandes.
He played outstanding. Big shots down the stretch. Just that calming force for Houston. That was a phenomenal game. That's like one of those all-timers of Final Four games.
I mean, it was one of the best comebacks I've ever seen. In that, especially in that space.
And we talked about this on Friday. I asked you, how many more shot attempts do you believe Houston has taken over their opponents? On the season, they took, heading into the Final Four, 306 more attempts per game than their opponents over 38 games.
And that Colin Malawach not securing the defensive rebound, Houston was +8.
Yeah, well, yeah. We'll get to that. They were +8 in field goal attempts, and they were +8 offensive rebounding. Mm-hmm. Those are the two things. The only thing that they deviated from, they turned the ball over more than Duke, and that is a rarity for them.
Yeah, and you got to be careful with Duke because they're so good in transition. But Tugler did not have this massive game. Only 4 points, only took 4 shots, 5 offensive rebounds. He almost made the error that sent them home, but he also, on that scramble play, he did get one of the offensive rebounds that led to the kickout.
And that's why you go, yes, Duke blew it, but it also can be true. Houston stuck to their identity and won the way they've won all year long.
They took it from them.
They did that. That's how they've gotten to this point. That's why they were a 1 seed. That is how they've played all season long.
Look, we don't do it often. Shout out the committee. They got it right with all the 4 1 seeds, and they all did their part, and they got here, and they gave us 2 great games.
Yeah, and now you got Big 12, SEC, national title game tonight. Houston taking on Florida. The whole country's got to be rooting for Houston now, right?
The way they play, yeah, I would. Yeah, well, I mean, the graphic wasn't the Final Four, was Houston.
Yeah, they're nasty, dude.
Yeah.
They are a fun team to watch. I hope Kelvin Sampson gets over the hump and wins a national title.
I picked Florida Duke in the title game. With Florida Houston here and the way Houston has been playing, it's the recency bias. I think I'm taking Houston. Florida played good, but there's just something about Houston, and maybe it's the recency bias of it all. but there's something about Houston that just feels right.
One thing that is true about this game, if you're busy, if you have to work late, if your kids have practice, you don't have to watch until the second half, because the second half is where both these teams
That's where they live.
win games.
And for those wondering, the spread in this game is 1.5.
Yeesh.
Florida. Basically, it's a pick 'em.
I've got it at 1.
There you go. So
on the old DraftKings.
Yeah, I mean it's about as dead even as you're going to get. The total, take a wild guess.
139.5.
140.5.
Is it?
Yep.
Yeah. I didn't want to go 140 because I don't think either one of these teams is going to be scoring 70.
That's the thing. It's kind of interesting how they got to that number, because it feels like, I think when I did this with Duke, Florida, I did the total at 148, I think was the combined total that I went with, because I figured it'd be a little bit more offense. In this, even with two great guards, which is what you typically see in final or in final matchups.
Cryer and Clayton, man.
I think both those guys are going to have big games. It's going to be who shows up. Does Condon, because Condon was bad for Florida, and Houck came in and was huge for them. Who's the second guy who shows up? Because both those guys, Clayton and Cryer, are going to ball. Who shows up besides those guys?
Got to have something off the bench tonight, because both these teams full send.
Yep.
On Saturday.
It's going to be interesting.
Yep.
We'll talk about that. We'll preview that game a little bit later. But coming up next, we have our worst day on the web, and it actually is from the Houston game. I don't know if you guys saw what happened. The living legend that is Akeem Olajuwon was denied access to the floor to celebrate Houston. Reminder, this game took place in San Antonio. We'll get to that next here. But first, it's Big Kahuna with Sports Center Update.
You mind if I have some of your tasty beverage to wash this down?
Now, from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
First on The Fan, the Trailblazers announced they have agreed to a multi-year extension with general manager Joe Cronin, who's responsible for drafting Shaedon Sharpe, Scoot Henderson, and Donovan Clingan, also for acquiring Jeremy Grant, DeAndre Ayton, Toumani Camara, and Denny Avdia. 3 games remain in the Trailblazers season. They are now officially eliminated from the play-in race, but still technically have a chance to catch the Spurs in the race down to the 8th worst record in the league. Portland off until Wednesday night when they are in Utah to face the Jazz. Final game of the college basketball season coming up this evening. Florida and Houston for all the marbles. 5:50 tip on CBS. The Gators looking for their 3rd title. The Cougars seeking their first. Florida are 1-point favorites. Mariners hosting the Astros for a 3-game set starting this evening after getting swept in San Francisco this past weekend. Logan Gilbert on the bump for Seattle. Hayden Wesneski for Houston. 6:40 first pitch on Root Sports. ESPN's Jeff Passan reporting the Blue Jays and first baseman Vlad Guerrero Jr. in agreement on a 14-year, $500 million extension. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rust from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work, insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
More, please. Golf in the Northwest with Jason Swigard is back. Saturdays at 8 a.m. before the Sinner and the Saint on Portland's sports leader, 1080 The Fan. It's time for today's worst day on the web. With Danny and Dusty on Odyssey and 1080 The Fan.
Well, that sucks.
We've talked about Houston basketball's return to prominence underneath Kelvin Sampson's tutelage, coaching, recruiting, culture building, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But there was a period where Houston basketball reigned supreme. Phi Slamma Jamma.
Yeah, buddy.
Hakeem Olajuwon, Clyde Drexler, just true greatness in college basketball. Basketball royalty, as it were. Hakeem Olajuwon is still a guy, even though the post-game is quote-unquote dying, that players will pay $250,000 to go spend a summer with him.
Gotta learn the dream shake.
The post-fundamentals. Have you ever watched his like teaching videos? Like,
No, because it's $250,000. You didn't give that away for free.
He's done like little snippets of like the drills that he puts these guys through. And I think Dream's like 58, something like that now. He moves better than you or I ever moved in our entire lives at his age now. It is insane how fluid and rhythmic he is. Now, so much of that is DNA, natural talent, all that kind of stuff. But it's also because he's drilled this stuff endlessly.
Mm-hmm.
And what he is and how synonymous he is with Houston basketball makes this so egregious. After Houston wins the game, Hakeem Olajuwon is right there on the edge of the floor. And some 28-year-old security guard is telling him, no, you can't come up here and celebrate with this program, with this team. Keep in mind, this game is happening in San Antonio. Remember what Hakeem Olajuwon used to do to David Robinson?
Yeah. I think that does not make sense. But
there's a step even beyond that. One of the Houston administrators is like lobbying, like, do you not know who this is?
Yeah.
Let him up there.
That right there is exactly where I was going, is that this reeks of security guard taking his job far too seriously. But also, that's on Houston. It's on Houston because they have a very limited supply of credentials of you can give somebody a badge that can take them anywhere they want. How Houston did not give that to Hakeem Olajuwon of all people is mind-boggling. And it should happen. This is on security guard for not knowing who Hakeem is. But also, a lot of the people that work security and that work as ushers, a lot of them don't know or care about who is who or what is what. They don't even know what they're doing because the hiring of that, they don't want people who are going to just watch the game the entire time. They want people who are going to do their job. So it's a little bit on that young Sparky there trying to make a good impression. I think this is more on University of Houston for not making sure Hakeem freaking Olajuwon and if Clyde Drexler were to show up, like those two guys should be the two guys that automatically you get whatever badge you want. You're in the locker room with these guys. Hell, you're sitting on the bench with our team if you want to.
Because he was in the locker room later.
Yes. It's ridiculous.
Look, so little context, like when you're talking about security and stuff like that, like at Blazers games, I've got my media pass. I know everybody that I interact with. I'm there every game. Like, it's a little bit different. Like, I could not have my security badge on me, and I could walk around because everyone there knows me. You know what I mean? Like, it's that kind of deal. But this is a different deal. It's not your home court. It's a national event.
Yep.
All that kind of thing. Even then, it's Hakeem Olajuwon.
Yeah, I wonder if that young guy is going, oh, boy. Because if he has any friends that are fans of basketball, they're like, dude, how could you do that? Now, if they are hardcore Spurs fans, they're probably like, way to go, dude. Yeah, you know what?
I almost hope that's the outcome because that's the only way.
Yeah.
Because even like, here's the thing. Like, again, at a Blazers game, the Knicks came to town. Patrick Ewing was walking around without a pass.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And nobody says a damn thing because it's Patrick mother bleeping Ewing.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody bats an eye because it's Patrick Ewing. Like, yeah, he's fine.
He looked good too. He looked Hakeem looked old, but he looked good, dude.
Fit.
Yeah, he's looking awesome.
He's got to stay in shape to get that $250,000 to go work out with him.
You're damn right. It's worth it.
Look, that NBA money is not as good. It was good then. Better now.
Yeah, I wonder how much.
I bet you he didn't make $100 million.
You want Hakeem Olajuwon?
Yeah,
career earnings.
Just because of the era, man.
No,
It's so honestly, I think that's where most of like the old heads, like why they get so irritated at the young guys, is because how much money they made.
Oh, 110 million in salary.
There you go.
He made 110 million in salary.
And I think he had the highest paid contract in the NBA at one point in time.
102.998 in his salary, and then they throughout his career, and then it's saying that he hit incentives that got him over 110.
All
in his
NBA,
career.
winning a title.
Yeah. Which those incentives were not. They were not as lucrative as they are now.
No, I mean, you guys now get $1 million for making the playoffs.
I don't know how much he made, but probably not a lot from his Spalding shoe.
No, probably not.
You know?
Yeah. Not real high up there, I don't think.
No.
But I mean, Hakeem Olajuwon, man.
Yeah, you should probably know.
Can't treat. Look, you see a older 7-foot man that everyone on the Houston sidelines is like, no, we're good here.
Yeah, you should probably.
The process should probably happen.
Yeah.
Look, I understand if it's just to throw a smaller guy out there, Damon Stoudemire. Let's say it's Arizona, it's out there, and you're just not familiar with Damon Stoudemire's game. You see 5'10" dude in Arizona gear, you go, all right.
According to Celebrity Net Worth, which is never wrong, net worth of Hakeem, $300 million.
Probably invested pretty well. I imagine he invested around in the Houston area. Probably got the fast food restaurants.
Yeah, I bet he does.
I hope he has some Hakeem Steakhouse.
Yeah, or real estate empire.
Ah, there you go.
Yeah.
No, Hakeem's Muslim, so maybe a halal restaurant.
He,
Well, I mean, come on. If he doesn't have like a joint with like a milkshake counter that's called Dream Shake, then we're missing everything here.
Yeah, right?
Oh, boy, he's really smart with what he does.
What's he got?
He had transacted over, this is as of 2006, had transacted over $100 million worth of real estate purchases, specializing in buying properties that are ripe for development via public improvements like stadiums or train stops. For example, he buys largely undeveloped plots of land near transportation lines and popular highway exits.
Oh, as it expands.
Yeah. He bought a 41-acre property near NASA's Johnson Space Center and development into a restaurant community. He owns parking garages, apartment complex, commercial buildings, and single-family homes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good gig if you can find it.
Oh, he bought Houston's former Federal Reserve Bank and converted it into a mosque.
There you go. I knew there had to be something there for him.
He owns the World Trade Center of Houston building. So
okay,
I think he's doing well.
Yeah.
He doesn't even need that $250K. That's probably why it's so expensive. It's like, dude, if you're gonna make me do this, make it worth my money.
Yeah.
Make it worth my time. I have to be incentivized here. So Hakeem Olajuwon doing really well.
It also keeps the
the
dregs out.
Yeah, but you mean of the NBA?
Yeah, like you can't afford this dog.
Dude, you're not a scraggler. I remember when LaMarcus went down and worked out with him one off season. That was a big deal.
Yeah,
and
it worked out really well for him.
He turned
LaMarcus, incredible post footwork.
Yep.
Not a bad place to be.
Wow.
All right, so there you go.
Who knew?
Security, be better. All right, coming up next, we talked about the big macro scope for the Portland Trailblazers, but they did play some games over the weekend.
They sure did.
And they did something against Chicago Bulls that I did not like.
Oh.
Not like it one bit. We'll get to that next here on Danny and Dusty, 10 of the Fan. Portland Trailblazers played 2 games over the weekend, one on Friday against the Chicago Bulls and yesterday against the San Antonio Spurs. And against the Chicago Bulls, some chicanery.
All right, you didn't like it.
Some shameless stuff. And I've said this, and for everybody who says, oh, you never say anything bad about the Bulls. Here's me saying it. What they did against the Chicago Bulls was shameless, and I don't like it. I said it about the Toronto Raptors, and I said it about the Utah Jazz, and I'll say it about every other team that doesn't. If you're going to tank, say it with your chest. Hold a guy out for the game. Don't pull a guy in the final couple minutes. That's exactly what happened against the Chicago Bulls. Now, I've been told that Denny was on a minutes limit and couldn't go back out there, but if you know that going into the game, then you would be more judicious with the minutes. If he's on a 35-minute minutes restriction, then why don't you sit him a little bit longer earlier and give yourself a chance to close the game with him?
Yeah, I really don't care. I thought a loss is a loss is a loss, and the Blazers found a way to do it. I'm okay with it. End of a long road trip when Denny's done.
Yeah, no.
I'm totally cool
but
with it.
He popped up on the injury report before the game. If you're going to do it, just do it.
And they held him out last night.
They did.
Yesterday afternoon.
Yep.
And so he and Tumani Kamara, 2 didn't play against Chicago at all. So, they're limiting their guys as much as they can, not in the business of winning. 2 comes back yesterday. They hold Denny out. I'm totally fine with it just because, if you're going to have a minutes restriction on a guy, I agree with you. Maybe just let him figure that out. But closing games out with the young guys and just saying, all right, go try to figure this thing out on your own, I don't really care. I mean,
I don't like it. I just don't. If you're gonna do it, just do it.
Here's where I'm okay with it, or why I'm okay with it, because there's been so many times lately where they've been playing crappy teams or teams that lean to the tank even harder than Portland did. Danny's line has been a lot of time been, you were never going to out tank that team. Well, why not? This time they tried to out tank that team,
and they did.
You're not out tanking the bottom 4 teams, Jeff. It's literally not.
No, he's not saying with all of them. He's not saying with all of them. But yesterday, this has been my gripe is that it's I get it. You want your guys to play hard, but what is the point of playing Tumani Kamara and Shaedon Sharpe 34 minutes yesterday against the Spurs?
So this is the rationale that, as far as I understand it, number one, 2 is going to continue to play unless because the all defensive teams.
And that is fine, but he doesn't need 34 minutes for even that, right?
I mean, that's pretty normal. That's normal starter minutes. 33, 34 is normal starter minutes.
Well, no, I understand. I understand what starter minutes are. I just think at this point in the year, don't really need it.
He's look. You're going to have to separate that. That's just a different thing. But did I want them to lose the game last night in the sense of giving it a chance? Yes.
Especially when that game got to 2, you could have just been well.
But again, if you're going to do it, just do it, which is, I think, part of the reason why you didn't see Denny play last night. And for those that are well, the Spurs did it. I'm the Spurs played down the stretch. Chris Paul, Harrison Barnes, Devin Vassell, Steph Castle.
Yep.
They're basically their best players that they have available because Fox and Wemby are out. Wemby's out with a serious injury.
Yeah.
With the blood clot. And De'Aaron Fox, I think he's already had surgery on his hand. So they're done. It's not just shut him down. I mean, yeah, with Fox it was okay, let's just take care of this so we're good next season. Yeah. But Wemby's out. That's not a tank thing. He's
not coming
out.
Back. Yep.
So the Spurs were trying to win that game. They just couldn't hit a shot to save their life.
Yeah, that's right.
Good God, did they have bricks?
That was one of the things.
The number of open looks they had last night, it was unreal.
That was one of the things when it was people are when they got to 2, why didn't they turn out? It's well, it's not their fault that San Antonio put a lid on the rim.
I mean, they just cratered. They
gave them plenty of good looks and opportunities.
The Spurs ended up shooting 11 of 34 from 3, which is not egregious. It's 32%. That should have been 17.
Mm-hmm.
The looks that they got, I mean, just butt naked, wide open corner 3 that bricked after Chris Paul. My God, has he still got the goods? Did you see what he did to Donovan Clingan on that and 1?
Yeah, man.
He saw Donovan Kling at the 3-point line and licked his lips.
It is amazing.
Oh, my God.
He has got and he always kind of had it, but now that he actually is old, his old man game is
incredible.
It's just like, damn. You could be bigger, stronger, faster than him. He will put you in the spin cycle.
His handle is still, Kyrie Irving has the best handle probably in NBA history. Chris Paul's right there. Right there.
Yeah.
Look, Donovan Kling is not great in space to begin with, but he started him, turned him inside out, backwards, forwards, in every other way, and then hit the hezzy in the lane that almost made Donovan fall flat on his face, and then draws the N1. And it was like, and what Chris Paul finished with, I think, 9 assists, probably should have had 16. The number of passes where he drove in, looked the defense off the other way, and then ripped a one-handed pass to a wide-open shooter as the defense shifted with his eyes was just like, oh, this guy's just playing the game at a different level.
Having a great point guard, something that Duke really wants right now. Because how invaluable it is.
The stuff he was like, it doesn't show up in the box score because he finishes with what 8 points, 9 assists. You're just like, it's like it doesn't like jump off the table or jump off the screen at you. But the way he was running things for them was just otherworldly, and they just couldn't do anything about it. Now, the Blazers winning that game. And I looked at the math just kind of going into this, and I looked at San Antonio's schedule. Even if the Blazers lose that game, it doesn't justify it because it opens the door. The Spurs play coming up, the Clippers, Warriors, Suns, and then in with the Raptors. They're probably only winning one game. And the Blazers are probably winning 2. So you would have had to hoped and begged and prayed for San Antonio to win 2, if not 3 of their games down the stretch, and it's probably not happening. And then the Blazers would have had to basically lose out. You're just not doing that against the Utah Jazz. You can try. The Blazers could put their worst possible lineup on the floor for 48 minutes, and they probably wouldn't lose to the Jazz because of how egregious they are going.
Well, I'd love to see that.
I would not. That is not basketball I want to watch. Hard pass.
Neither is I. I don't either, but
I'll watch the heck out of it if it means they can get down there and tie the Spurs for that 8th.
But that's the thing is, it wouldn't just hinge on that. It hinges on everything.
If the Spurs, they got to lose out. Spurs got to win out. I get it.
And the math there just isn't there. But had you done this earlier, that's what this gets back to. Had you decided to tank at the All-Star break, you could have gotten to 8.
If 7 or 8.
7's dicey.
Well, no, at All-Star break you could have gotten there. Even at All-Star break you could have gotten
even there. Then it's dicey.
Yeah, if you would have done it at the All-Star break, if 7 or 8 win the number 1 pick, this is going to be the saddest town in America. Move over Huntington, West Virginia. Portland will be the saddest town in America.
Yeah, that's the nature of that beast. I figured out the most gut-wrenching possibility. Let's say that the Spurs and Blazers tied at 8th. And what ends up happening is that you split the odds.
Are you really going to do this to people out here right now?
And you flip a coin. And the remaining combination, because there's an odd combination number.
Yeah.
The odd combination goes to the team that wins the coin toss.
Yeah.
And then the Spurs get the number 1 pick.
I feel like you just start
that is the worst
something that is
possible outcome of that situation.
This is going to happen now, and thanks, man.
You like that one?
Wait, so we don't go to the head-to-head record to break that tie?
No, you don't.
I don't. Don't look at me like I know, Jeff. Jeff's like, this is not how this works. It's like, dude, you're looking at the wrong side of this room,
Mr. Hara.
No,
you're looking at the wrong.
You split the odds, and then you have a coin toss to decide that. It's not like playoff seeding.
Dang.
So, but yeah, the Chicago one, and the justification for the Chicago one was doing the math at their schedule, looking at what the Bulls were going to do. The Bulls have, I believe, the Wizards one more time. And you wanted to assure yourself of that by giving Chicago the win and yourself the loss. And that's going to keep you basically looking at the math. I believe they have like a 70% chance combined between 8 and 9. The math was mathing.
Whatever, dude. Just draft Knipple and let's get this over with. All right?
I mean, yeah, it's kind of
done.
Kind of looking that way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think Cooper Flagg, we've seen him against Kentucky early in the year. He turned the ball over a few times at the end. And his team lost. You look at the Final Four. He had a chance to win the game. He didn't do it.
We didn't talk about that. He had a great look, and he blew it.
Yeah, but I think that means he's probably in that 8, 9, 10 range.
Probably should knock him for that.
I mean, I'm here in Portland. I'm looking at that, and I'm saying, yeah, man.
He's definitely going up on the board. Just
dude
fails to hit game winners in crunch time situations.
Yeah. I mean, Dylan Harper and Ace Bailey, how many tournament shots did they miss?
Yeah, right.
None. They did not miss a single shot in the tournament. So
undefeated too.
Yes. They didn't no losses. No losses for Dylan Harper or Ace Bailey.
No misses, no losses, no turnovers even.
Incredible.
1-2
Cooper
right there.
Flagg though, I think he's 8-9 material.
Yeah, Knipple didn't miss that game winner.
Nope.
Well, I don't know. Flagg falling down that far, that would make my knipples hard.
God. That's
well played, man.
We'll keep that for later. All right, coming up next, we're gonna keep it in the NBA world because, ladies and gentlemen, the Western Conference is absolutely insane from 3 down to 8. What in the world is going to happen in this final week, and where are we going to see teams end up? And then something we've talked about for the last couple of days, but not able to get to. Who do you trust in this Western Conference, not named Oklahoma City Thunder? And do you trust them after getting mopped by the Lakers? All that and more on hour number 3 on Danny Dusty, Danny the Fan.
I'm Michael
George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. A Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
If you've been arrested for DUI, you need a team of attorneys into whom you can place your trust. Call Reynolds Defense Firm today online at reynoldsdefensefirm.com. First on The Fan, the Trailblazers announced they've agreed to a multi-year extension with general manager Joe Cronin. He's responsible for drafting Shaden Sharp, Scoot Henderson, and Donovan Clingan. Also for acquiring Jeremy Grant, DeAndre Ayton, Tumani Kamara, and Denny Avdia. 3 games remain in the Blazers season, now officially eliminated from the play-in race. Still technically a chance to catch the Spurs in the race down to the 8th worst record in the league. The final game of the college basketball season is upon us this evening. Florida and Houston for all the marbles. 5:50 tip on CBS. Gators looking for their 3rd title, while the Cougars seeking their 1st. The Florida are 1-point favorites. Mariners hosting the Astros for a 3-game set starting this evening. They got swept in San Francisco over the weekend. Logan Gilbert on the hill for Seattle. Hayden Wisniewski for Houston. 6:40 first pitch on Root Sports. Mariners 3-7 on the season. That is dead last in the AL West. ESPN's Jeff Passan reporting the Blue Jays and first baseman Vlad Guerrero Jr. in agreement on a 14-year, $500 million extension. And what was a 3-1 series lead for the Winterhawks over the Cougars has turned into a Game 7. Puck drops tonight at 7 o'clock in Prince George. Winner moves on to likely face the Spokane Chiefs. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rust from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work? Insurance companies acting like jerks? Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
Save the date. Your local Toyota dealers present the 11th annual Fan Golf Classic at Langdon Farms Golf Club on Thursday, June 26th. Keep it on the Fan for details. Danny Meringue.
I found 2 empty bottles of a particularly decent Chateau Noir Bordeaux 57 in your rubbish.
Dusty Hera.
You went through my garbage?
This is Danny and Dusty on the Odyssey app.
I find it particularly offensive that you use them to wash down an order from something called Macho Taco.
And Portland's sports leader, 1080.
I would never drink a Bordeaux with a Macho Taco.
The Fan.
It was a burrito machisimo.
103 here on Danny and Dusty on a Monday afternoon. We're listening on 1080 AM, watching along on youtube.com/1080 AM The Fan or twitch.tv/1080 AM The Fan. We appreciate you. We love you. Thank you for hanging out with us on this wonderful Monday. You get your finger up. What you got?
I do. I just saw something on Twitter.
Oh, go on.
Today is the 36th anniversary of the movie Major League.
Oh, God, it's that old?
You just ruined my 245 bump back.
God, it's really that old?
Yeah, 36 years old.
1989.
When Jake Taylor lays down the bunt and he's running down the first base line, you know he's got 2 bad knees. I laugh now when I hear like the electric guitar where he goes, you know what I'm talking about? It's like that's supposed to be his knee going.
Yeah.
I love that movie so damn much.
Because we're that age now.
Yeah.
And we know what that feeling is.
Yeah. Willie Mays Hayes lays down a bunt and on the bunt, scores from second. You kidding me? Oh, I love that movie.
Yeah. You want to talk about aging? Wesley Snipes. You saw the Deadpool movie, right?
Yeah.
The new one?
Yeah.
Wasn't filling out that costume like he was in the early Blade days.
Well, I mean, at 62, I can see why.
But I mean, like the realization of like how much time has passed.
Yeah.
From little tiny
hasn't
Willie Mays Hayes to super jacked Blade.
He got some issues going on.
He had the tax stuff, but I thought it was
tax evasion.
Yeah,
it was
a lot of tax evasion.
Oh, he's fine then. Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah, we're fine.
White collar crime.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, no,
totally fine.
Not canceled. Just did what we all want to do, which is keep your money.
Yeah, I mean, not canceled. Just Florida man. Yeah, he is from Florida, by the way. Yeah.
Come on.
Oh, okay. Well, all right. That makes me feel better about Wesley Snipes. I thought
great revenge movie.
What?
Major League.
Oh, it is a revenge movie.
I think Blade kind of is too.
You know, one that hit me for sure. I don't know why I thought of it, but I had like a light bulb moment in here earlier this morning about the revenge movie list, and one that I feel like it was a glaring omission. Falling Down. Michael Douglas,
Dusty and I both did the same thing. Like, not placing that.
Yeah, by the same thing, it means Googling it.
Well, yeah, Michael Douglas with the flat top and like the
flat
horn
top.
Oh, God, yeah, the golf course.
All right, yeah.
Good God, the golf course with the shotgun.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boy, that movie, when you mentioned it to me, nope.
Yeah.
And then I Googled it. I'm like, oh, I know exactly what you're talking about.
It's the second.
It's that short sleeve white button up shirt with the black tie and the crew cut. It's just emblazoned in your head.
Yeah. All right. Do you, have you guys seen the new psychological thriller that's coming out? Jordan Peele is the executive producer of it. It's called Him.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It's about a
Jimmy Butler.
No. Football.
Oh.
It's like a rookie gets taken under the wing by a veteran in professional football player, and it's supposed to be a psychological thriller, and I'm like,
Well, I mean, look, he's done pretty good so far in his flicks.
Yeah, I know. But
Yeah.
if it's going to be like, and he's not directing it,
Okay.
but if it goes down the road of some of his other movies, it's like, how's that going to work?
Right.
It's got Marlon Wayans.
Yeah. Well, all right. I mean, okay.
Julia Fox, for those that care.
All right. Him. Coming out soon. Okay. Yeah.
What were we talking? Oh yeah.
No idea.
Yeah, NBA Western Conference S show. That's where we're at right now.
Dude, I saw this little nuggie, and it blew my mind. So currently, the Denver Nuggets sit 4th in the West, right?
Mm-hmm.
They are 47-32. They do not play again until Wednesday. Okay, in that time span, the Clippers, which sit 5th, the Warriors, which sit 6th, and the the Grizzlies, which sit 8th right now, all play. The Nuggets could fall from 4th to 7th due to tiebreakers without playing a game between now and Wednesday.
And why is that? Well, it's because teams 4 through 8 are tied in the loss column. They all have 32 losses.
And the way that the tiebreakers are going to sort themselves out right now, they have a 1-game lead on all of these teams, but
because they played one more game.
But they cannot, they've lost all the tiebreakers to almost every single one of those teams. So they'll only, I think they'll only have a tiebreaker over Memphis, I believe. But they could fall behind the Clippers, Warriors, and Timberwolves without playing a game and then have to climb back uphill in the final week of the season to get out of the play-in.
And that's the crazy thing is, outside of the Rockets and Thunder, who are both 8-2, and they're pretty much, I mean, obviously the Thunder are locked into the 1 seed. It's very likely that the Rockets are going to hold on to that 2 seed. The only team that can possibly catch them is the Lakers, and even then, I don't think it's happening. But so basically you have 3 through 8 is completely undecided because the Lakers are at 48 wins, the Grizzlies at 8 are at 46. But here's the difference. The Grizzlies are 3-7 in their last 10 games, as are the Nuggets, while the Clippers and Warriors are 8-2 and 7-3, and also the Timberwolves 7-3.
Dude, Timberwolves won 5 in a row.
The 3 hottest teams in the West right now, and you can take OKC out of that because my God, did the Lakers beat the ever-living crap out of them.
It ruined them.
Good.
70 is gone. Now they're just hoping to get to 68.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
I mean, they got mauled. That hasn't happened. You can say end of the season, all that kind of stuff. The SGA not getting the free throw line thing, I was like, little preparation for the playoffs of what might happen if you face the Lakers in the playoffs. And no, there's definitely no home cooking there at all. But we talk about this seemingly every year with Kawhi Leonard and the Clippers. Kawhi Leonard played back-to-back games for the first time this season. He's got 20-plus in 13 straight games.
Dude.
And look, Draymond Green right now is the favorite to win Defensive Player of the Year. Do not be surprised if Ivica Zubac wins Defensive Player of the Year.
Oh, okay.
Do not be surprised if he, I know a lot of voters that have him number 1 on their ballot.
Boy, that Draymond push, it really is getting...
He's been on ESPN, on TNT, on his podcast, and my God, the Bay Area machine is just... It's Defensive Player of the Year, not Defensive Player of the last 5 weeks.
I think that, though, it's not just the Bay Area machine. It's the national network is.
Well, no, it's
just
the Bayer machine.
going.
They have national writers that are out of there and that have a lot of pull and a lot of clout, and they are making their phone calls.
Yeah, and Draymond is playing really damn well on that end of the floor.
But he's not a defensive player of the year.
No.
Like I just do not understand it.
Well, I do because everybody who's up for that award keeps getting hurt. So
it's gonna go to a big, and all Draymond is quasi a big. I think it should go to one of Mobley or Zubac. That's who I'm debating. At least I'm going to put out my ballot. I don't vote, which is I've had people ask me if I would want to vote, and I think
yes, you would.
No, I am.
You would.
I would,
Yeah.
and I think I would actually be good at it. Not necessarily come to the right conclusion, but I would put the time into it, where I know that there are voters that don't, and it irritates the hell out of me.
Yeah. Well, that's how Draymond's going to win.
Which is, again, that's probably what they're counting on. All right, coming up next, we've gone through just kind of how tight this is. Over the last couple of weeks, has your mind changed about the teams that you trust in that group? Because I think a lot of people are getting on the trusting of the Oklahoma City. After that, though, 2 through 8, who do you trust? We'll get that next here on Danny and Dusty, 10 to the Fan.
Check
Well, we just talked about how closely the teams between 3 through 8 are in the Western Conference, and that's kind of where we're sitting now because the final play-in spots, it's between 3 teams, and really it's over.
It has been 70, played either 78 or 79 games for most of these teams, right?
The Suns are at 35 wins. They need a near miracle to get in. They have to win out and hope somebody, the Kings, steps on it.
Oh, you mean the team in the midst of a 6-game losing skid right now?
Yeah, they're not good without Kevin Durant. They're not great with him either, but they're really bad without him.
But on the other end of things, with 3 or 4 games remaining, you have got 2 games of separation between 3 and 8 in the West.
It's absolutely bonkers. But here's the crazy thing. If I just put Houston, Memphis, Minnesota, LA Clippers, Denver, Golden State, and the Lakers, dropped them in a hat, and you randomly drew that team, which team in that group do you trust the most? And let me give you this little bit of information, okay? Michael Malone, head coach of the Denver Nuggets last night, said he wasn't sure if he was going to have Jamal Murray for the playoffs.
Yeah, they're running into some real issues in Denver right now. The durability of Jamal Murray has come into question over the last handful of seasons, but it's more and more apparent this year than ever that this could be a major issue for Denver moving forward. If you're telling me, so Lakers, Nuggets, Clippers, Warriors, T-Wolves, Grizzlies, right? That's your 8 that you said, or the 5 that you said?
Basically, everybody in the
3 through 8.
No, even add the Rockets in there.
Add the Rockets.
Add the Rockets, the non-Oklahoma City team. Because even though, here's a crazy thing. The Rockets, we were just talking about this in the break, the Rockets have the 4th best record in the NBA.
Yeah. 52 wins.
But how? And they're probably going to end up with 55 wins.
Yeah.
How much do you trust them?
I don't, because we haven't seen it.
Not
right?
only that, they don't have, but to our point when we talk about the Blazers, who's the guy?
They have a lot of very high draft picks that play really well together, and they're really damn well coached. I mean, that's the thing about that. Are you
gonna trust Jalen Green? I sure as hell am not.
I don't trust him at all, really.
I trust Alperen Şengün to an extent. I trust Amen Thompson being a guy, but I don't trust him to be the guy.
Yeah. They truly are an anomaly.
They are weird, man, because they are the sum of their parts, and in the playoffs, we can talk about the teams all we want. It still comes down to dudes. Now, Houston has a lot of dudes, but when they're playing anyone, they're going to be like, Jalen Green, take that shot. Amen Thompson, I dare you to take that 3. Tari Eason, take that 3.
Yeah, it's going to be, and it makes them easier to defend when you know that it is Fred VanVleet is probably going to be pulling the trigger on the deep ball, and you can effectively, and this is the part about a 7-game series, right? Effectively pack the paint and take away their then, right? If we do this, what do they do? You can take their then away in a playoff series. That makes them pretty limited because the equalizer is that guy that no matter what you do, you cannot stop. That's why stars win in the NBA.
On the flip side of that, the Lakers.
Yeah.
You've got 2 dudes you can't stop. And a third in Austin Reeves. Also, if I hear one more Laker fan saying he should be an all-NBA player, shut up. Shut up. The reason why he looks so much better is because he's playing alongside maybe the best player of all time and the best creator of a generation. Just stop. Austin Reeves is really good. He's not an all-NBA player.
Yeah. You know the team that, when you said that initially, what I thought is the Clippers is the team that I trust in this. Because they've got a big, okay? They've got multiple creators that they can rely on, but it's Kawhi Leonard.
That's
healthy. Kawhi Leonard is an equalizer in the NBA.
Do you remember Kawhi Leonard last year in the playoffs before he went down? The first 2 games?
I don't, because there's only 2 games.
He was unbelievable.
Yeah.
It was like 33, 13, and 8 or something like that.
But how long does it last? And that's the big question of makes it really hard.
But that's where the trust. You're like, I can't. It's not that I don't like. Not only that, it's a lot of James Harden, who I absolutely do not trust. But I trust Kawhi.
Yep.
If he's available. every single, like with the Lakers, yeah, you have otherworldly creation and offense. Their center is Jackson Hayes.
Mm-hmm.
Good luck. So we just talked about the Clippers. They've got a big. They've got wings. They've got other guards they can play with.
And that's the thing about the Lakers is, with Jackson Hayes, you're going to have to go through Chet Holmgren or
Jokic.
You're going to have to go through Zubac, right? Like, you don't have a center to get through the upper echelon of the Western
It's the
Conference.
same question for the Warriors. You're Quentin Post, and you're gonna tell me, look, Steph, Jimmy, Draymond, they're now 19-2 when Steph and Jimmy are available post trade deadline.
Really damn good. And it's Jimmy Butler.
And we know what that dude can do in the playoffs, and you know what Steph and Draymond can do. But they got, who's the big?
Yeah. Though it's going to be the way that the bracket sorts itself out, right?
The matchups. That's like Memphis. They have all the talent in the world. I don't trust them as far as I can throw them. Number one, John Morant.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, the coaching and the basically like saying this season's over by making that move.
But that could unlock an unworldly John Morant, which could be terrifying.
But you're just like, where do you go with this?
Yeah. That's why I settle on the Clippers, is that their amount of crazy with James Harden on the team is less than the amount of crazy that you're going to have to deal with some of the other teams who have glaring holes.
Because that's the thing is and for all of the stuff that Oklahoma City has, what still bothers them? Size.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just bigs. LeBron and Luka destroyed them.
They absolutely dismantled Oklahoma City.
The best defense in the NBA. They just ran them out of the gym.
Yeah.
And But
I don't trust that over 7, because you'd need that effort from those two guys for 7 games.
But also those guys are capable of that.
Yeah.
Luka Doncic in the playoffs is a 30-point triple-double.
No, I know.
And remember what he did to that team.
Yeah.
But he also did it with additional size with Gafford and Lively, which they don't have in LA. That, like, all of these styles and all these matchups, that's what's going to be really interesting. You say there's only 3 or 4 games left, depending on who it is. The final 2 days of the regular season, teams are going to be trying to vie for seeding. I don't think they're going to be able to.
No. Well, looking at the schedules remaining too, the Lakers have got another one with the Thunder, and then they got the Rockets. Who knows what they're going to be looking like, but...
And they end with the Blazers.
The Blazers at the very end of the season.
Could they could a win or a loss decide who they play and decide which side of the bracket they're on? But that's why they start all the games at the same time now.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. The Nuggets have got the Rockets and the Grizzlies left. The Rockets have got everyone. They got the Lakers, Clippers, and Denver.
Their final 10 was basically like the toughest schedule in the NBA.
That is bananas. Clippers have got the Warriors and the Rockets. That's the fun part about it. Every single one of these teams going to play against each other. And Memphis has the easiest path right now with one against Denver, one against Minnesota, and then they have 2 teams in Dallas and Charlotte that are...
I mean, Dallas is trying to hold on for the play-in, but Charlotte...
They won't need to hold on for the play-in.
Yeah, they get one more.
Because, the Suns are an absolute disaster.
I believe the math is a win by the Mavericks will keep the Suns out.
And the Suns have got OKC and Golden State remaining, which Golden State still needs to win. They're going to take a big L.
Well, that's the other thing about this is we're talking about 2 through 8. You want to avoid the play-in, which means 6.
Mm-hmm.
That's the key here of, like, especially if you're the Lakers, you want to give that week off for Luka and LeBron.
They need it.
Because of how reliant they are on those guys. And you've got, Minnesota, Memphis, and Golden State all kind of in the same area of, like, if you're a play-in, like imagine you're the Thunder and your matchup coming out of the play-in is the freaking Warriors.
No, I'm good, dog.
Like, you're just like, but I thought this was supposed to be easier.
Yeah, we're supposed to get a team that is not as good.
The plucky upstart.
Well, got something new for you.
They could also get the Grizzlies, who just tap out in 4.
That's right. And you could, if they go out in 4, Memphis, you could see Ja asking out. You could just see everything after they retooled everything around Ja Morant, it could, in an instant, turn on its head.
That's why I love the playoffs, man. The upsets cause a lot of churn. All right, coming up next, we had one of the biggest records in sports broken over the weekend, and the NHL hit it out of the park. We'll get to that next. But first, here's the Big Kuno Sports Center update.
I hear they got some tasty burgers.
Now, from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
First on The Fan, the Trailblazers announced they have agreed to a multi-year extension with general manager Joe Cronin, who was responsible for drafting Shaden Sharp, Scoot Henderson, and Donovan Clingan, also for acquiring Jeremy Grant, DeAndre Ayton, Toumani Camara, and Denny Avdia. 3 games remain in the Trailblazers season, now officially eliminated from the play-in race, but still technically a chance to catch the Spurs in the race down to the 8th worst record in the league. The Blazers are off until Wednesday when they face the Jazz in Salt Lake City. Final game of the college hoops season coming up this evening, Florida and Houston for all the marbles. 5:50 tip on CBS. The Gators looking for their 3rd title while the Cougars seeking their 1st. Florida are 1-point favorites. The Mariners host the Astros for a 3-game set starting this evening after getting swept in San Francisco over the weekend. Logan Gilbert starting for Seattle, Hayden Wesneski for Houston. 6:40 first pitch on Root Sports. ESPN's Jeff Passan reporting the Blue Jays and first baseman Vlad Guerrero Jr. in agreement on a 14-year, $500 million extension. And what was a 3-1 series lead for the Winterhawks over the Cougars has turned into a Game 7. Puck drops tonight at 7 o'clock in Prince George. The winner moves on to likely face the Spokane Chiefs. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rust from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work, insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
Your favorite fan shows are on YouTube. Mash the subscribe button and like us for live streaming video and 1080 The Fan on demand.
The Great Eight now stands alone. Alexander Ovechkin breaks Wayne Gretzky's all-time goal-scoring mark. He had the opportunity to do it the game before on an empty net and did not do it.
Yeah, he said, no, I'm not going to have a cheapie be the one that I go out on top with.
And that's the unwritten rules and the greats of the game respecting the game.
Yep.
And the NHL did this the right way. Wayne Gretzky said, when I broke Brett Hull's record, Brett Hull was there for me.
Mm-hmm.
If Ovi gets close, I will be there, and I will be around when he breaks it. And you had the greatest hockey player of all time in Wayne Gretzky in the locker room with Alexander Ovechkin to congratulate him on breaking a record most thought was unbreakable.
Dude was on the ice minutes after the goal was scored, congratulating him. Give him a hug on the ice. In the way that Ovi did it, he scores a goal, belly slides, penguin slides his way across the ice. It was really cool. And the fact that the serendipitous nature of sports, where we always have these records, and it's like, oh, well, he's a compiler. He did. Alexander Ovechkin and Wayne Gretzky have played the exact same number of games in their NHL careers.
And
exact.
And Gretzky played in an era where goals were scored.
And Ovi broke the record on the same number of games that Wayne Gretzky played in his entire career.
Could have done it one game earlier.
Yeah, but ended up with one more on the exact same number of games. That's a really cool stat to kind of go down in history, that they both did it in the exact same number of games, so you can't sit there and say, oh, well, he played forever. The crazy thing about Ovechkin, though, too, is that he has had essentially like 2 seasons taken away from him, or big parts of
seasons, yeah.
Because you had lockout and you had the COVID year, where seasons started and stopped at different times and they were shortened. So it's nuts to think that with everything that's kind of been played in line, this could have happened a couple of years ago for Ovechkin. But he's 39 years old and still playing at the level that he is.
Still, by the way, that was his 40th goal of the season.
Nuts, man.
Still got the goods, man.
It is absolutely crazy. But I think it's really cool that the traditions of hockey, the entire sport rallies around these things. It's not gatekeeping and sacred like it is in other sports, where you have people actively rooting against records to be broken.
Maris family.
These are celebrated, and it's a kind of an honor to pass on your record to somebody else.
Especially when you're talking about this level of greatness.
Yeah, really cool.
Because you look at where everybody else is on this list, it's a sizable gap when you just start working your way down. It's Gretzky, Ovechkin, Hull, and then you just kind of go, oh, okay, that's kind of nuts. So I had that game going on live in the office at K2 when we were getting ready for the Blazers game. And when he scores the goal, it was the tying goal. I was just like, this is awesome. Like the sports feels were just out.
Yeah.
And then he passes up the opportunity to take that. And I was just like, I don't know why. I like hockey. I wouldn't go as far to say I love hockey, because basketball is the love sport, as it were. But I really like hockey. But I just found myself proud of somebody that I don't know.
Yeah.
Doing it what I thought was the right way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there was just something in that. And when he scores that goal and the announcer, has a great call and then just steps out of the way.
Yeah.
And lets the entire arena, both teams, celebrate that moment. The game stopped for like 15, 20 minutes for all this stuff to happen.
Yeah.
Bettman walks down there. Gretzky walks down there. I mean, both teams line up and shake his hand. There's a respect. There's a gravitas there. Like, this is a major record. And the insane thing about this is one team. Alexander Ovechkin is a Washington Capital and Capital only.
That's really cool. I like one team guys, and it's a rare breed. I mean, even the guys that you would think are different and cut from a different cloth, like Dame, right? multiple teams. Like it just doesn't happen very much anymore.
Brett Holt played for like 6 teams.
Well, Gretzky played for what, 4? And then you have the 2 greatest hockey players right now, Sidney Crosby and Alexander Ovechkin.
They ain't going anywhere.
Are in all likelihood going to be retiring with the teams that drafted them.
And to the point of the NHL and the Stars getting it, you know what the Pittsburgh Penguins tweeted out the second Ovechkin scored that goal?
No.
Sidney Crosby congratulating him.
Oh.
His rival.
That's pretty cool.
Coming out and congratulating him.
That's really cool.
That's handling it the right way. And we talk about the NBA and how often they just get in. Shaq on a podcast today said, I'd make Wemby and Chet quit basketball. Like, don't get me wrong. Shaq would have done, prime Shaq would have done hilarious things to these guys.
Yeah.
But also, like, the game's different, man. Like, appreciate it. I understand that you feel a certain kind of way because those guys are making crazy money and they're not playing the game the way that you played it.
Yeah.
And the way that you feel it should be played. But hockey's different now. You almost don't have slap shots anymore. One-timers, the only guy who takes one-timers in the NHL anymore is Alexander Ovechkin. Because the analytics of hockey is taken over.
Yep.
But you know what nobody said during that? They don't like the way Ovechkin plays or the style that he plays with or how he carries himself or the flash and pomp. It was about what he did.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that to me, like,
it's pretty cool, man.
It was pretty damn cool.
Quick Ovi stats here. So he has played a very long time in the NHL. He has played in the NHL for 20 seasons. Okay. In 14 of those 20 seasons, he has scored 40 or more goals. 14 of his 20. In a 48-game strike-shortened season in 2012-13, he scored 32 goals in 48 games. Safe to say he probably would have hit 40 that season.
Yeah, and you're talking about prime Ovechkin at that point in time.
In a 68-game season in 2019-20 that was shortened for COVID, he scored 48 goals in that season. So he hit the benchmark there. And then in 2020-2021, which was an abbreviated season due to COVID, he scored 24 goals in 45 games. He would have paced to be over 40 in that. Over 40 in that season. So he, in full seasons of his available 17 seasons, he scored over 40 goals in 14 of them.
Okay, so he's 1,486 games in his career?
1,487.
87, that's right.
Yep.
So, and he's at 895 goals.
Yeah.
Do the math. That's more than a goal every other game.
He averages 49 goals a season.
More than
in his career.
Means he's scoring a goal more frequently than every other game for his career.
And if you don't know, they play 82 just like the NBA. So, yeah, he's pretty damn impressive in that
Think
regard.
about how infrequent goals are scored in the NHL. And then go basically for 20 years, this guy did it every other night.
Yep. And he's doing it as an old man, too.
And not just squeaking by trying to get the record. It's another 40-goal season.
Yeah, he turns 40 in September. So dude, what he is doing is bananas.
It's not, NHL's so weird because there are players that in the late 30s and 40s are still incredible.
Yeah.
Despite the physical wear and tear.
Yeah.
It does not make sense to me. It does not compute.
It's just ice skating.
Yeah. What's hard about that?
Sure, anybody can do that.
What's hard about going your hardest for 1 minute and 40 seconds over and over and over again, 20 times a night? What's difficult about that?
Nothing.
Yeah, going my hardest for 1:40 usually wipes me out for a while.
Wow. Wow.
At least 3 times.
Did you see what was going around on the internet right after the Ovechkin goal happened? John Buccigross of SportsCenter fame.
His tweet about when he would break it.
It was an entire blog post.
It's from like 2018, isn't it?
No, it's actually from 2010.
Oh God.
February 3rd, 2010. John Buccigross wrote an article on ESPN.com. Does Ovechkin have a chance to break Gretzky's record?
15 years ago.
that would have been his 5th year in the NHL.
Because of how quickly he was, like, I think his first 4 of his first 5 seasons, he had 100 points.
And so it was like, let's project Alexander Ovechkin finishes with 51 goals this season. This would give him 270 at age 24. That means he'd need to score 625 more goals to break Gretzky's record with an all-time mark. And then he goes down, this blog post breaks down what each goal total would need to be in each year of his career. And he was like, all right, taking into account Gretzky's fall off that he had in his career, right? He's saying probably when he's 39, so he'd go from 40 goals to 32 to 28, and then his age 40 season, 27 goals. It was close, but the drop-off never happened.
No.
Ovechkin is still scoring 40 goals a season. It's just 2 years were wiped out from his career, so he's doing it now at 39 years old. It's nuts.
It's bonkers.
I love it. Way to go, hockey.
Hockey got it done right. So we'll flip back over to college basketball. Take a look at Houston, Florida tonight for the national title. Everything on the line. 2 teams that, boy, are they going to muck it up. Which way is it going to go? Danny and Dusty, Danny the Fan.
It's time for Legends of Hoop, an inside look at the college basketball championships. Brought to you by Legends Casino Hotel, within winning distance.
Just communication. I mean, I think me and Sion messed up a switch. Got to get the ball in bounds, find whatever we had to do, just find a way to get the ball in bounds. But yeah, I think that was a big messed up communication play between me and Sion that led to a big 3.
2 words there, Cooper Flagg, following the loss to Houston. He gone.
Yeah, all of he might come back. Yeah, right. He's going to be gone, and no regrets on that last shot that he took as a collegiate athlete.
And there shouldn't be, because you got a good look, and that's all you can hope for. Legends of Hoop is brought to you by Legends Casino Hotel. Escape to Legends Casino Hotel within winning distance. Just a short drive to Tompkins, Washington. The ultimate destination for fun and relaxation. LegendsCasino.com.
Hello, sports fans, and welcome to
Prime Time with Isaac and Sue.
Anything I say on here, I hope no one hears it. Why do I hope that? People are listening. That's stupid.
It is bad.
I'm going to completely change my reputation right now. Moving forward, I'm just going to start being super sports guy, real serious.
Well, you would think every time you meet someone, you'd be like, please tune in, tell friends, but that's not the way it works.
I don't care about that.
The home of Prime Time with Isaac and Sue. Weekdays 3 to 7, 1080 The Fan.
We've already broken temperature records. Hey, it's Rob. Light at the end of the tunnel for us golfers. It's time to dust off those wrenches. Book your tee time now at Langdon Farms Golf Club. No better place in the Northwest for year-round golf. LangdonFarms.com.
So, how's your research going?
Surprising. After I figured out the top-rated TVs in our price range, I went shopping for deals.
And who's the best?
It wasn't the internet, and it wasn't the Warehouse Club.
But?
It was video only. They had better deals on the Samsung, LG, and the Sony TVs that got the highest scores.
Better than online and at the club?
I know! Video only beat them all. And now we can afford an even better model for the same price. My research really paid off.
If we buy it video only.
Exactly. Otherwise, we'll be sorry.
At Video Only, you won't find huge stores with refrigerators or microwaves, but you will find the best deals on top-rated TVs, soundbars, and monitors. Shop around. Just make sure you visit Video Only, because if you don't,
you'll be sorry.
In Jansen Beach, Clackamas, Beaverton, Salem, and Eugene. Video Only.
Time is ticking away. Don't let another minute pass. Plan your retirement now with Trajan Wealth for the future you deserve. Call Trajan today at TrajanWealth.com. Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor.
Hey, it's Suk, and when it comes to HVAC and plumbing, I call a company that I've worked with that stands on integrity, excellence, and stands behind their work. That's A&E Plumbing, Heating, and Air. Locally owned and operated, they believe in honest, upfront pricing and empowering you with the info you need to make the right decision for your home. Oh, and that lifetime workmanship guarantee, if they don't do it right, they fix it for for free forever. So don't gamble with your comfort. Call A&E or visit aeheatingandcooling.com today. Your local independent train dealer. It's hard to stop a train. CCB number 203004.
Here's Comedians and Sketchers Getting Comfortable, presented by Hands-Free Skechers Slip-Ins.
Hey, I'm Bobby Slayton, and I'm here with my pal, comedian, and Skechers ambassador, Mr. Howie Mandel.
Why did it take so long to invent something as amazing as slip-ins? I know it seems simple, but it took Skechers to invent a better pair of shoes.
Yep, with Skechers slip-ins, you just step it and go. You don't have to touch your shoes. And by the way, slip-ins are for the whole family. Men, women, and kids. In all your favorite Skechers styles, find Skechers slip-ins at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Danny and Dusty on the Odyssey app and 1080 The Fan.
As we wrap up today's show, the national title tonight between the Houston Cougars and Florida Gators.
That's tonight?
Oh, in just a matter of hours. And again, we talked about the spread is, depending on where you look, 1 to 1.5 points. Basically, the books are saying, good luck.
Nobody will know. One thing that'll be fun to track is the live betting in this game, just based on the tendencies and nature of each one of these teams.
Especially at halftime.
To allow their opponents that idea that they may be able to hang around for 20 minutes and then slam the door shut in the second half. Or in Houston's case, allow a team to think they can beat them for 30 minutes.
Play dead for 30 minutes.
And then absolutely throw haymakers at the end and grind you to a pulp. This feels old school college basketball.
Just don't give me what we got in the women's national title game. My God, just a quick hat tip there to UConn. Beating the ever-living crap out of South Carolina.
That was a hell of a deal.
Good God. Donovan Clingan walked into the locker room last night before the game. Proud peacocking. Proud peacocking.
How about that Paige Beckers?
Yeah, doing what UConn does, baby.
Dude, Paige Beckers, every time I look at her, I look at an athlete who she's got dog.
Oh, yeah.
Through and through. She runs her mouth. She talks that S.
And backs it up.
But then she has a look about her face that just reminds me of like a third grade teacher. And I'm like, you look so innocent and trustworthy. And then you'll snatch somebody's soul.
Love it.
Very Steph Curry-esque with the way that her demeanor is welcoming and then rip your heart out. I love it. All right, national championship tonight, 5:50 on CBS. Happy birthday, Dad. We'll be back tomorrow from noon to 3. Up next, you got 4 hours of power from their mouth to your ears. It's prime time with us. Good soup right here on The Fan.
Bye.
Danny Meringue here.